That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And welcome to the show where we wax poetic about the movies we see on a month-to-month basis. It's time to crack open our... Movie Memoirs! All right, Dragon, I'm sorry. I need to address this at like we're just going to do a tiny bit of housekeeping right at the top because I just
we really don't have time for this, but go on.
I know, but I noticed literally right when I pushed the start broadcast button, we were already 22 seconds into our broadcast, and I've noticed that being a trend. So it's folks, I don't know what's up with StreamYard right now. I don't know why that's going on. I don't know if at the start of these videos there's just 20 seconds of dead air or what. Dragon, maybe that's something we could look into, but I just want to address it because literally it freaked me out. I just now pushed the go live button. It was okay, we're you've been going live for 20 seconds. I'm no, I haven't. But all right, anyways, Dragon, it's December. We got a lot to cover, so we don't have time for thesis statements. Who has time for thesis statements? Let's jump right into the news.
All right, so you're going to work our way back from the bad news, and folks, we didn't have any intimate passings this month, but we did have. I
mean, I'll give it we're not going to do a whole segment on it, but I'll give a quick shout out to John Madden just for the pop culture icon status of it all. I never played the Madden games, but certainly that's what I knew him from pop culture osmosis, and also Dragon. John Madden just likes a perfectly good game of football. All right, I'm done. All right, go ahead.
Right. So, like I was saying, we didn't have any, intimate passings we can really expound upon, but we did get some tremendously sad news. So we're going to start off with that and work our way back to the happy stuff because post-Christmas.
Very light news month, just in general, because frankly, all the news, I'm just going to call it out, all the news was just hey, Spider-Man, do you know that Spider-Man No Way Home is a movie that exists? Anyways. So that's been the news cycle for the past month, Dragon. So go ahead.
Yes, so in sad news, comic legend, legendary artist, George Perez, or Perez, depending on how fancy you want to be with the pronunciation. George Perez, he had been officially diagnosed. He shared this with everybody. I believe he and his wife, or his wife on his behalf, has shared that he's been diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer.
Yikes.
Very sadly. So basically, George Perez, he's made a choice in lieu of getting treatment and I believe chemotherapy. I assume he's opted to just take the time he has left and be with family and just kind of embrace life, live it to the fullest while he can. And just my heart goes out to him and his family. This guy's like a once in a generation artist.
I'm not terribly familiar with him, Dragon.
Okay,
I mean, I briefly looked him up, but do you know what he's most well known for?
Easily, Tiki. Let me tell you, on one hand, I can just tell you the massive things that he's done. Okay, here's a small little story no one's ever heard about.
Oh God,
the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and let's raise the stakes even further.
Oh God.
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh wow! Okay.
Essentially, the precursor to Infinity Gauntlet.
So basically, he's really, really skilled at the big team up stuff. Then
at the massive world changing events, yes, and also to raise the stakes even further than that.
Oh God.
JLA Avengers, in which the big crossover, the best crossover, in which the Justice League met the Avengers. Also,
right, we have. I'm sorry, really quick. I just want to shout out. We have Pink Pearl in the comments. Hey there, Pink Pearl. Very happy to have you on board. Hope you're having a decent new year. You've only seen Spider-Man. That's totally cool. We'll be talking about news and TV and a bunch of other stuff. So I hope you stick around regardless. And hopefully you get some good recommendations out of it. Dragon, go ahead.
Yes, and also the other big feather in George Perez's cap that kind of give him some longevity as well is he revived Wonder Woman big time. And that Wonder Woman was kind of languishing for a long time, and he really breathed new life into her and kind of carried her until she kind of had the roles in the other big stories and eventually her own stuff. I mean, you don't really get the the Wonder Woman movie without what George Perez did for that character.
Mm-hmm.
So. I remember his wife made him these shirts and everything one hangs in the secret stash. Perez, I've met him. Swell guy, really nice guy, lived to draw. So yeah, I'm terribly sorry about what he's going through here. But my God, what a legacy he'll be
Yeah.
leaving.
Oh God. Yeah. Absolutely. That's like a big Mount Rushmore of credits you just listed there.
And hopefully, sometimes these diagnoses, they don't, like there's like a 6 month expectancy, but sometimes people can beat that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe
And
we end up.
honestly, like, because Dragon, at this point, I'm 31 years old, and like I've pretty much just decided that the biggest focus of my life should be travel. So like I can totally respect like, living life to your fullest. I totally respect that mentality.
Well, going from the sacredity of life, let's celebrate some life. Someone had a birthday.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, it was a couple weeks ago, so if
Wait,
I was
really?
Larry David, I'd totally chew you out right now for being
Wait,
like
really?
way late. But
I thought it was like it wasn't like this week. It was weeks ago.
it
Really?
was weeks ago, Dragon.
Like how many weeks?
Like December 11th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you had like a later birthday.
No, I
Huh.
December 11th. Yeah, that's funny.
Well, still,
You
like
threw me off. I thought you were gonna like name like a big celebrity birthday or something.
Well, no, actually, to be fair, there's another much bigger birthday this month, Stan Lee's birthday.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, Stan Lee's birthday, I believe, is either the 28th or the 29th, and that's
And Pink Pearl is December 20th. So
there you go. So
yeah,
just happy December birthdays.
Birthday, Pink Pearl.
Just happy birthdays all around.
All right.
It's the month roundup anyway.
Okay. Yeah, Pink Pearl. I can say I really loved Encanto. I think Dragon was a little bit more mixed on it. But Dragon, we don't talk about Bruno as having a moment right now. I don't know if you've been on the internet, but it's having a moment. Anyways, okay, so we're gonna go from a very tragic story to, oh God, Tom Holland, what are you doing? First Nathan Drake and now this? No, I'm just kidding. This actually excites me. I think this is one of the few things that they're shoving Tom Holland into where I think he actually fits. Tom Holland is playing Fred Astaire.
Assumedly in a Fred Astaire biopic.
And Dragon, I gotta say, like I said, I'm pretty critical of Sony just being like, he's our it guy. We have to have him in everything. But this fits like a glove, man. I can totally see this.
I want to say I forget if Tom Holland might be a trained dancer. I forget what I forget if he's I don't know. There's this weird thing. I think he might have been a ballet dancer. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. All I know is he's very agile and has like some sort of dance background.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's a thing. Just given the agility and everything.
Yeah.
I think he might have like a ballet background. Regardless, casting for Fred Astaire, I mean, I think he could. Tom Holland has range that people don't give him credit for. I mean, even though this movie didn't go over well with a lot of people, Devil All the Time, he was wonderful in that film. And I hear he's great in Cherry, which because of that confounded, Plus TV, I'll never be able to watch. But
oh, God, Dragon, I'm feeling that with Coda right now, honestly. Because I keep hearing really good things about Coda, and it's like the 2021 movie that I just can't access.
All right, so moving on from there, The Boys. There is some news with The Boys. So The Boys is doing an animated kind of spin-off series of shorts, kind of like what we had recently with the Star Wars shorts. I'm trying to remember if we had a name for the Vision, Star Wars Visions, and it's in the style of.
It's going to be like different animation studios.
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So kind of like Visions and the Animatrix. It's going to be a bunch of different talent on. I'm assuming with all the different talent, it's going to be probably different animation styles. But they pulled the Animatrix reference. That implies to me when you do the Animatrix, it's going to be different animation studios and styles and everything. So I'm assuming with that comparison they laid out, it's going to be 8 episodes. They have a lot of great writing talent on it. So here's the few names. A lot of heavy on the comedy, but also some. Garth Ennis, for example, the creator of The Boys, he'll be writing some.
Mm-hmm.
You have Justin Roiland. He's going to be on it.
Oh, okay. I could totally see Justin Roiland's style working with The Boys. Oh, that's a good fit.
It gets even better than that, too. You got Andy Samberg.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I
honestly think Roiland's style fits even better than Samberg, but I like Samberg, so.
Well, sure, you got Awkwafina. She's going to be
okay.
This one, and also Aisha Tyler, who hosted the post show on the
God
season 2. Yeah, So point being, it's going to be adventures in the universe of the boys. So probably, I assume like not all of them together, but perhaps like maybe Frenchie will have a short, and then perhaps like I don't know if we're going to give any of the heroes. Maybe the Deep will get a short. Otherwise it might be original characters just in that universe. I'm not sure. So they've announced that. That's a lot of fun because they've been doing some supplemental content to hold people over. Like there've been news segments of Vought News hyping people up for season 3. So that's cool.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I love any sort of like animation anthology kind of stuff. I'm into that stuff. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, next up, Dragon, Batman the Animated Series, audio drama. Well, you're the Batman guy, so why don't you tell us about this?
Yes, so the animated series is getting an audio drama. I assume on HBO. They haven't said where now, which is really interesting to me because recently, and I've listened to all this. HBO Max had the Batman audio adventures, audio kind of audio drama thing, which you can watch. You can watch it on HBO Max or online or on apps or anything. But you can watch it on your TV if you want to. It's just not going to be really seeing much. It's going to be more of an audio experience. So yeah, that was good. But this is going to be a full on continuation. Apparently, here's all we know. Assumedly, they're going to get as many people as they can to come back. I'd be shocked if they couldn't get Mark Hamill. Kevin Conroy and John Glover confirmed to come back as Batman the Riddler. We know that much. They're definitely trying to get on a little bit the whole Batman kind of craze.
Right.
Year, I'm sure. So I don't know if it's going to be a full-on. Here's the real question, Tiki. What we don't know. If they're going to have, like the Batman Audio Adventures thing they had recently, will it be one story split up, which the animated series has never really done before? Where, we're taking one story and splitting it, like serializing it into episodes instead of just like a different episode per. And Alan Burnett's writing, and Danny Elfman will be doing the score for it. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think it's really wonderful and full circle. The animated series starts off as a radio play in how they recorded and everything, so it's kind of nice seeing that come full circle and getting the band back together and with the Adventures Continues comics and everything. The animated series has been coming back big time.
Yeah, so it's kind of having a little bit of a renaissance right now.
No complaints from me. Just bring back the toys while you're at it. Come on.
Okay, I'm gonna throw out some Pink Pearl comments here. Let's see. I'm gonna save the Spider-Man comment for when we get to Spider-Man. But she says, "I love that song. We don't talk about Bruno. Good cha-cha song." Pink Pearl on it. We don't talk about Bruno. I am standing that song so much. It's fucking stupid.
It was the best. I think it was the best song in that movie.
I really hope it gets nominated for Best Original Song. I really do.
I'll co-sign that. It was good.
All right. She's hearing rumors of Incredibles 3, Dragon. Have you heard said rumors?
I haven't heard any. I
haven't heard anything on Incredibles 3.
Big Pearl, I don't know where you're hearing any of that. I mean,
I am excited for Turning Red, though. Turning Red is definitely one of my more anticipated of 2022.
Now, here, if I recall, I forget if Mark Andrews is developing a project. Now, what the wildest fantasy. Now, I don't think he's doing Incredibles 3, but if he did, that would be really exciting because he was He was in the cuts of the first Incredibles movie. He was the driving story force of that film with the action and everything. And we haven't really seen him.
Fucking flash forward.
Would you? Oh God!
I will never let it die, Dragon. I will never let it die.
Yes. Anyway, so that's true. We know. Yes.
Like if any movie was tailor made to have a flash forward.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so. Point being, if we're gonna hear anything about Incredibles 3, I imagine they're gonna save that sort of announcement for
like Lightyear 23 or something,
or when I finish saying Lightyear. But yeah, sure, D23. I mean, yeah, when Lightyear.
Dude, can you imagine if Lightyear comes out and they have a teaser trailer in theaters with Lightyear and it doesn't even hit the internet until the fucking movie comes out?
Well, that'd be astonishing.
That's such a pipe dream. It's never going to happen. But what if it did?
But regardless, I'm saying like, hey, you have an action movie that went really well. Perhaps we announce like, hey, if you're in action mood right now, Incredibles 3 is official. It's going to be happening.
I'm not going to lie, Dragon. At this point, out of the two Pixar movies, I'm actually more looking forward to Turning Red over Lightyear.
I'm looking forward to both. I mean, how can you not? I'm very excited.
I mean, I'm excited for Lightyear, but I just think Turning Red is just like, not only is it a super original concept, but I just love I love what Pixar's been doing recently of kind of giving the new blood the reins.
I love the director of Turning Red. So Dome Shi.
I just think it's worked out really well for them with stuff like Luca and Onward, and I'm excited. So
all right, okay, all right.
Okay, so finally, let's do a quick trailer roundup. Batman trailer 3. So I'm honestly kind of digging it, but at the same time, Dragon, I don't know. I honestly think there's maybe like a 50-50 chance of people loving or hating this movie. I really do.
Yeah, I definitely feel it. I mean,
Like
one
I
thing.
do. Like I would, if I was a betting man, I would not know where to place my bet on the Batman right now.
Well, I mean, look. At the end of the day, I think it's gonna do fine. It's the question if it's gonna be amazing or not. I mean, plus right
I
now
think it's a question on what I'm saying in terms of what I bet on is if the fan base is going to embrace it or not.
well, that's the thing. I think right now people are a little starved for Batman live action, especially after all the TV crap the CW's been pulling. It's like let's put him back on screen again. Come
Uh-huh.
on! But bear in mind, we're gonna have the Flash too, so that might satiate a lot of people as well. I'll give them a more traditional Batman they're familiar with.
Right,
So
right.
regardless, I mean, honestly, I got talking with our buddy Rohit recently. We were talking about stuff with the Batman. Now, something that's occurred to me that he brought up that I think I've kind of come around on. I think what we're gonna do with this Matt Reeves Batman is I think the Riddler is going to. I think the Riddler is going to discover the Court of Owls, and that's going to be the sequel. And then then by the third movie, we'll get into like some of the iconic villains, like the Joker, perhaps. Which it sounds like they're trying to squeeze in a Joker in there. As long as he's in the background in this first movie, I don't want to be all Joker again. Like, come on, we need to build him up.
Oh, I totally agree. Totally agree. I honestly think Joker would be a good end game for this Batman.
Exactly. So I'm saying, wouldn't it be exciting though if like the Riddler in this whole like if we're doing the Telltale Batman corrupt Wayne family thing, possibly like what if we found out the Wayne family were members of the Court of Owls, which brings us into the sequel.
Oh,
Which
I want some Court of Owls. I will
so
always take some Court of Owls for
so I
sure.
think if they announce Court of Owls, I think that's going to win a lot of people over Tiki. I think that's going to be like, okay, well we have a direct. I think Matt Reeves would excel at Court of Owls. Just this first movie is like, okay, well it's again it's gonna work, but it's very much he's kind of leaning into the angsty Batman, which could turn people off. That's the thing. The angry angsty Batman is a thing that could split people. But we leaned heavy on the Cat one, which seems their relationship really seems to be bonding with. They really hate who they're going after. Batman hates crime, she hates Falcone, so we'll see where that takes him. Now there has been a big announcement with the Batman before we transition trailers here. So HBO Max is going to come out in theaters, but 45 days later, on April 19th, it will be released on HBO Max.
Yes, I'm glad you're bringing this up because I didn't really think this was big enough news to cover on its own. But yeah, I think that's an interesting development, and honestly, I do think it will probably work pretty well. I think Encanto had a similar strike. Like I was honestly kind of blindsided by Encanto being on Disney Plus so soon.
Well, Disney, they've been enacting this sort of thing on the down, like
right,
with Shang-Chi, I think technically, and
honestly, I think it's been working for Disney. So
yeah, it's been a recent practice. Like for example, Eternals will be coming to Disney Plus either January or February. I think. It's
oh
January.
my god, I can't fucking wait. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you killed it. We're gonna move on. So, okay. So
you know that Spider-Man: No Way Home is a movie that exists? Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. Speaking of Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. We have basically kind of like a little first look tease.
So that's the awkward thing about this thing, Dragon. It's like I don't like. It's not really a trailer, right? It's more or less like a scene. It's weird. Like I don't. Well, to me, it's more of an excited for the movie, but I would have rather had just a like more of a full teaser trailer. I don't know. I don't quite know. Like the only real thing we get out of this is like, hey, Spider-Man 99.
Well, here's the thing to get. $20.99.
I know. I just realized that. Yeah.
I think it's more of a. I think it's less true. It's more of an announcement. The whole Part 1 thing is really threw me. Like, oh my god! Like
Part 1 threw a lot of people. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
But you know what? I'm super glad that Sony is just like, all right, yeah, Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse. It wasn't like the biggest hit at the box office, but literally everyone on the planet loved it.
Yeah.
So they're going all in on it, and I think that's smart. I think it's smart that they're capitalizing on it soon.
Yes, especially with the all these spin-off delays. I don't know if delays, but the fact is they're taking their time with spin-offs, and I imagine most of that has been concentrated into the sequel, which is seems they're going for something ambitious with the part one, part two thing. So definitely we'll tease that we got direct continuation from hey, remember at the end of the movie where Spider Gwen is peeking through? Well, that's where we start the next movie. She's peeking on through. Basically, we get that 2099. It seems, based on just the visual of the trailer, it seems he's going to be our answer of how we travel between universes. He has like a little watch or something he had at the end of the movie, so that's going to be how we're traveling to all of our dimensions without the giant super collider thing. The animation showcase was interesting. It looks like, I think when we're going into the Japanese Spider-Man's world, we're going into like a completely hand-drawn thing, which looks really interesting.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Now, I have a theory, very brief. A theory about what we're doing with Across the Spider-Verse. So, also something to bear in mind, Across the Spider-Verse will be the way to commemorate Spider-Man's 60th anniversary. That's next year.
Oh, nice, cool.
Which is kind of something really cool there. Anyway, so I think we're going to end part one with the animated Spider-Mans, particularly like the Spider-Man, the 90s Spider-Man from the animated series, which, of course, that series ended with like basically the genesis of Into the Spider-Verse. We had all the Spider-Men from different dimensions meeting up. So I think they got to do something with that, because that was like the one thing they didn't do in the first movie, bringing the animated Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely.
And so I think part two, what it's going to do, Tiki, because I'm hearing rumblings that Venom 3 will indeed be like him going up against Spider-Man, presumably the MCU Spider-Man. Of course, given how certain things happen, it might be tough to make that happen. So I'm imagining.
Yeah, I don't know why people are actually a fan of that post-credit scene. I found it to be very frustrating.
Okay, so my point is I think part two will blend Spider-Verse into the live-action films, and that's how we're going to be, like, the multiverse of madness of it all and everything. That's how we're going to be able to cross over our Sony properties back into, like, going all over the place. That's how we're going to be able to have these crossovers, like a Venom or like a Deadpool meets Spider-Man or what have you. I'm not sure. I think in general, that's how we're going to be able to have our Sony properties meet each other. It's something massive like that, I imagine, would have to be part two and not part one. You want to save it for then. And plus, it's going to take time to make all these crossovers happen anyway, so put in part two.
All right.
Dragon,
I'm sorry, I just don't have a ton to say about it, because it's like literally it was just a scene. So I'm sorry that you're throwing out all these theories. I just haven't thought that hard about it.
All right. So, the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Oh, this looks so good.
Right? This is a Nick Cage movie.
I love this, man. Dragon. Oh, God.
I'm looking forward to it myself. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. This is an ingenious Nick Cage premise of a parody of himself.
Describe the premise really quick.
So Nick Cage plays a parody of himself. Basically, it's Nick Cage, but spelled differently. Probably Nick instead of just Nic.
Oh, it's not just him playing himself?
Well, it's him. I'm saying it's him playing. It's a fictional version of himself, but the name is still Nick Cage, just like
right.
So Nick Cage.
I didn't even realize there was a spelling difference, so that's interesting.
Yeah. So the idea is, Nick Cage. He's a parody of himself, and again, paralleling the real Nick Cage. Nick Cage, he'll do anything for money because he blew all of his, and that's why we see Nick Cage in Sony movies all the time. Nick Cage, he needs money, so he's doing a birthday party appearance. He's going to hang out with somebody for a large sum of cash. And this guy, I believe, if I recall it correctly, it's Pedro Pascal's.
It is Pedro Pascal, yes.
Well, I know it's Pedro Pascal as a drug lord, though. I think he's a drug lord.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, yeah, and basically they're going to be palling around. The idea is this Pedro Pascal drug lord is a huge, which I like to think there's many parodies here, is the fact that I don't know who Pedro Pascal plays in Narcos. I don't know if he is a drug lord in Narcos or not. I don't know if that's a gag. I'm not sure.
Well, Narcos is a very drug-heavy show, so either he's a drug lord or he's a DEA agent.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't know but regardless,
I don't think there's any characters on that show that aren't one of the two.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying. He's one of the two. If he's the drug lords, that absolutely fits. But regardless, it'd be like a flip on what he is if he is a DEA agent in that show. So regardless, a little bit of a Narcos nod for Pedro Pascal. I know he's a big fan. They're going to get in some trouble together and some shenanigans, and it looks hilarious.
Yeah, it looked right. I do hope there's more of a meta commentary on Cage's status as a meme, because honestly, Dragon, there's a really good 3-hour video essay, which yes, that it is a time commitment, but a really good video essay on YouTube going around about how how the meme thing kind of killed Nick Cage's career and how he really resents it. So I really hope there's some exploration into that side of things.
Well, I have a theory about this movie.
Okay.
So I don't know if this project just took new shape into this one, or if this was just like, I don't know, maybe it just inspired this one, because I remember there were rumblings of a Nick Cage movie in which he would play himself called, basically Nick Cage sold the movie rights to basically he owning the original, the first appearance of Superman, I believe. Yeah, Action Comics #1. So basically, it was this whole thing like Nick Cage sold the movie rights to a bunch of people heisting Nick Cage and stealing his Superman comic. So that was basically Nick Cage playing himself in that movie, or at least them hopefully offering him that part. So I don't know if that's perhaps like this idea of, okay, well, we want a movie where Nick Cage plays himself. We're just going to change up the plot completely, and but also have like Nick Cage having money troubles in the plot. So I don't know. Maybe that's the same thing took shape. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Really quickly, Pink Pearl has a very interesting fun fact here. She says she lives in New Orleans, so Nick Cage scares her specifically because, get this, Dragon, he has a pyramid-shaped tombstone in one of our famous cemeteries. And to quote Mr. Wynn, it's very creepy.
Very creepy.
So that is a very weird fun fact, Pink Pearl. Thank you for pointing that out. Like, I'm actually going to Google it really quick. All right, Dragon, let's transition into TV. Here's a show we haven't talked about in a long time, Hawkeye.
Yeah, it's been forever since we've talked about it.
I know, right?
Okay. So, long story short, obviously, folks, we've talked ad nauseum of Hawkeye very recently, so if you want to get all the nitty-gritty and all the spoilers, by all means, go there. But long story short, this is a great way to celebrate the holiday and give Hawkeye the credit.
Oh, dear God. That is very disquieting, Pink Pearl. I just looked up a picture of it. It's legitimately creepy. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, Dragon. Yes.
To refocus here. Yeah, so we're finally giving Hawkeye the credit he deserves. The MCU Disney Plus series, again, they ended strong this year with Hawkeye. Again, not flawless, I'll say that much. Not flawless, but we at this point with any of the shows, though, we have not surpassed Marvel Netflix at its strongest yet. So, it's so.
I mean, that's pretty much Daredevil, right?
That's what I'm saying. We haven't surpassed Daredevil quite yet with the Marvel Netflix.
I agree.
So hopefully, maybe with She-Hulk that'll change. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, hey, Miss Marvel.
Also, I think the bigger one, honestly, the big one everyone's waiting for that actually could measure up to Marvel Netflix, Moon Knight. That's the biggie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Moon Knight's the biggie.
You know why I'm excited for Miss Marvel, and it's a reason that's very obscure, but still.
True. I mean, look, we're both looking for Miss Marvel, but I mean, come on.
You could just come in and kill it and be like, oh my God, that, like, her brother is like the best side character ever in any MCU thing.
True, but again, my wish fulfillment's coming with She-Hulk, and it's more possible than it's ever been before. There's one simple thing with She-Hulk, and they can make it happen. Anyway, right. So, again, it's a nice introduction.
I genuinely think this probably isn't the most popular opinion, but I don't think Hawkeye is perfect either. I think that the last 3 episodes are way better than the first 3 episodes, like significantly better. But that being said, I think just based on the strength of the last 3 episodes alone, I honestly do think it is the best of the Marvel Disney Plus shows for me.
Sure. So, yeah.
I was very apathetic towards it at the start, but I really think it stuck to landing.
To be fair, you're apathetic about a lot of stuff at the start, though.
This is true.
I don't know how much to really go off of that, because, usually it's like, I usually could give it a little more benefit of the doubt, seeing that usually, so far, the finales have been really impressive. At least leading up to the finales, at least, have been impressive. Even if it's the penultimate in some cases, you've been really wowed by it later on. All right. But, it's a great introduction to Kate Bishop and a few reintroductions of some other characters. Bishop. Kate the Bishop. There's a right there for you. Okay. All right, so let's transition to another show we have both.
Oh, God. Okay, Curb Season 11.
Yes.
Oh, God. So, I mean, there's definitely some really good stuff in this season.
Of course.
I think the watermelon episode is Curb at its best. I think it's honestly like instantly iconic. I really do. But I think the problem with this season is that they really just did not stick to landing with the plot lines.
Yeah, so here's the thing, Tiki. This is again, I keep recommending certain seasons of Curb. One of these days you'll get caught up with it, I'm sure. One of these days. But
I've kind of just been enjoying just cherry picking the seasons though. I like that it's a show where you can just go in and out of seasons.
true. So with that said, this to me has been the iffiest season of Curb since honestly the first two seasons. Because Curb's like a straight line after the first two seasons. Like it's been great, it's been consistent, it's
Uh-huh.
been great. And this is like getting back to that season one, season two territory in which they did not have a season plot line. Season two is like when there's kind of the adventure of maybe we could do a plot line. So but yeah, you're absolutely right, Tiki. I blame it on the story through line this season. It just wasn't strong enough. And the problem being, it's nowhere near
I
as good
think
as
Tracy
this.
Ullman was wonderful, and I think she should have been the season
Yes,
plot line.
she should have been. A part of me feels like it's kind of a realization of we only have so much. There's only so far we can go with the main through line, but when we introduce the thing we need to fix that through line, that's the better through line with Irma Kostrowski.
I mean, like Irma Kostrowski honestly kind of reminds me of like she kind of fills the same sort of role that Lin-Manuel Miranda did in terms of like she kind of comes in
Yeah, it was
towards
the
the end of
fatwa
this.
to how we get out of the fatwa. Yeah.
Right. And she's like kind of like a villain without really seeing herself as a villain.
Yeah, well, for sure an obstacle, but yes.
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing. So it's like this is nowhere near as good as last season.
Oh God, no.
With the Spite store, I mean, with that through line.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Spite store was amazing. And the problem I think is like Larry David being blackmailed. I'm too sympathetic towards him because I don't want him to be blackmailed. No one wants to be blackmailed.
I just thought that was just a weak. It feels like something that would be like the B plot of one episode.
Yeah, of one episode,
Honestly,
but to make that and making that through line through the whole thing is just.
I think it had a great payoff.
It did. And that's the thing, though. It's like it's designed on purpose, and I think it's succeeding a little too much here to make me hate the blackmailer and the blackmailer's daughter, Maria Sophia. But you're supposed to hate her. Parenthetically, too, because we love Kostrowski, the watermelon. Also, I really like the Funk Hazard tribute that we start on. I like that. That was good. Okay.
I will say one quick thing with Curb. I really think they dropped the ball on not covering a lot of COVID stuff.
You know what's funny? There's one show I'll be talking about that did everything you wished Curb would have done.
Really? That's funny. Because it's like, that is like one of the main reasons why Curb season 11 was like one of my most anticipated TV shows of the year is like, oh, sweet Jesus, the world has gone to hell in a handbasket. Larry David is going to have so much to say about it. And he really doesn't. I mean, the first episode has like kind of the weak sauce, like, you're a COVID hoarder. And that's about it. That's about all. Like, we don't even see them doing the masks or anything, Dragon. I mean, it's like the whole situation just like the past 2 years have felt like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
So I'll tell you, I think happened, honestly. I think it was like just when they were writing the episodes, they were optimistic in that, well, we'll be done by that point. And all the shows
even if they did think we'd be done, it's still like, I don't know. I just think there's so much you could have gotten out of Larry David having to handle all the pandemic stuff.
You're not wrong. I do wonder if season 12 will be the last of it for Curb, though. That's what I am curious.
I honestly, part of me is just halfway hoping that this is the end and he just ends up dying in the pool.
Well, again, Tiki, you watch certain seasons.
That's the last we ever see of Larry David, folks. At least he went out happy.
No, we didn't go out happy. Oh, wait. Well, for a moment.
Well, with the fantasy, I mean.
Yeah, with the fantasy, absolutely went out happy. But God, that fantasy was wonderful. Anyway. Okay. All right.
Where's the fence? Where's the fence?
All right, let's see. Pink Pearl. 2020 was the mother of despair. 2021 was her firstborn. 2022 is the youngest. Let's see if it's a brat.
All right.
Okay. All right, that brings us to
Voya season 1. This was so good, Dragon.
Yeah. So again, like, just in case people think, like, what the heck are they saying? Like, VOIR, like, voir or voir. I mean, depending on how you say, like, voir dire in court. But, like, anyway. Yes, so this was great. David Fincher produced this, I think.
I know. So this is essentially a David Fincher produced series of Dragon. Honestly, these are like, they are less documentaries and more video essays. Like in the same sort of format that I love, on YouTube, that I really think YouTube is pioneering right now. And honestly, I love seeing that. I love seeing Netflix tackle that genre.
Yeah, I was amazed by how much brilliant film discussion they got out of like roughly 20 minutes at most. I mean, I think one might have been 40 minutes, but beyond that, like the majority of it were like 20 minutes or under.
Uh-huh.
They got a lot in there. I mean, just to kind of like gild the lily. I mean, I like how we focused usually around one film that then bled into the genre as a whole. Like Lady Vengeance got into the revenge movie.
Uh-huh.
The most interesting one was the racism in 48 Hours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That one was fascinating. Good God. And of course, we had the intimate
I
story of
like how it
Jaws.
ranges from like really personal ones, like the Jaws one, to just like more of the cultural side of things, and then more examining the film itself.
Then
I
also,
really like how there was kind of like a kind of like a potent mix of different kind of styles of video essay there.
speaking of styles, we had Glenn Keane talk about kind of the appeal of character design within animation, which is a really interesting kind of compressing of the business.
Uh-huh.
All right, so then let's see. That brings us to True Story. Oh boy, True Story.
This was really good, right?
Yes, I love this so much.
Oh my God, fucking Wesley Snipes just kills it.
So I love Kevin Hart doing drama, period. And here's the thing. So Tiki, I don't know if you ever watched this. I told you about this on one of the memoirs. So there was there's a mini series there's a mini documentary series on Netflix all about Kevin Hart called Kevin Hart Don't F This Up. It was really good. And
it's been on my watch list, Dragon. I just haven't gotten around to it.
So this is the perfect companion piece for this. See, having watched this beforehand, that's the intimate, like, real look at Kevin Hart, and they basically use that as like the blueprint for this.
This feels so much like. I mean, obviously, there's definitely like
this is eerily meta.
And that's the way I would describe this outside of just being outside the meta stuff is it's basically like a dramatic version of The Hangover.
I mean, sure, yeah, it's essentially. So, and that's the thing. When Kevin Hart's thing happened, it happened in Vegas. So it's adding that. Anyway, so this is a fascinating exploration of both Kevin Hart and fame, and kind of fame in the world of today.
And of course, Wesley Snipes is another person who has had, I mean, he pretty much was obviously like hit the bottom of the barrel and then came back. So
this thing overall was like an amazingly gutsy move to be this open and be this close to real life. And again, it was just something kind of wonderfully. It was my favorite thing in the show. Without saying what happens, behind the scenes, Gene broke my heart. Theo Rossi from Luke Cage played behind the scenes Gene, and good God, I loved everything about that story. It was like this such an intimate look of fandom and everything.
Yeah, totally.
And
totally.
Some of the other actors, like Will Catlett, he's from Black Lightning. He played Herschel, the body man, the guard. And you had Kyle Bornheimer, the pants from Onward.
God.
Krasinski from Agent Carter, if you want a face to go with
Jesus.
it. Yeah, so Kyle Bornheimer, he was the main guy. He was like the agent, anyway. But yeah, so we need more shows like this, man. This in general, but also, I mean, like, let Kevin Hart do drama. Because every time I've seen him do drama this year, it's going like gangbusters. This was fantastic.
Totally. All right, let's see. Hit Monkey, tell us about it.
Well, do you have something?
What?
Okay, what's under True Story?
Oh, I'm sorry. High score. My bad.
All
right. I'll make this quick. I held off on this one for a long time just because it's one of those things where honestly, like the more I know about a documentary subject, we'll kind of get to that at the Street Gang, honestly. Mm-hmm. The less enthralled I am by it because it's just like, yeah, I pretty much already know all this stuff. But this was a really good one, though. And honestly, what I liked about this one was how many different factions of the video game industry and video game history it covered. Because I got to tell you, Drag, I'm really sick of like, hey, Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Yeah, back in the 90s, Genesis and Nintendo. Am I right? I'm really sick of that. I'm really sick of like the ET thing. Like there's just certain parts of video game history that have just been regurgitated to death. And honestly, I think for the most part, this avoids that. I mean, it does have the console wars episode, but I don't really think it, treads a lot of familiar territory. I quite enjoyed this one, Dragon. It was it was pretty much just a comfort binge when I was sick, but I still liked it quite a lot. I wouldn't say it was super enlightening by any means, but I thought it was really well done.
Did you ever watch that Console Wars movie that they did, the documentary movie?
Yeah, I did, and I wasn't too impressed, but like I said, mostly just because I'm sort of sick of the topic in general.
I love that parade balloon runner that they had in that so much.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, Hit Monkey. Boy, oh boy. Tiki, my God, this is far better than it has any right to be. This is based on a Daniel Way creation. It's basically the lone survivor of these Hulu, along with the MODOK stop motion shows.
I actually did get Hulu, by the way, so I am going to be looking into some of your recommendations.
Well, again, Dope Sick and Hit Monkey, man.
I know Dope Sick is on my list for sure.
Yes, and I guess It's Always Sunny if you want to go further. Anyway, so
it's Always Sunny. I don't even know where to start with that one.
Well, there's something called Season 1, but if you want to do the curb approach, then it might
I know. There's just so much of it.
Okay. So, this is like, so they have a verbatim adaptation of Hitmonkey's origin. See, there was this Deadpool writer called Daniel Way, and he basically did Hitmonkey while he was doing Deadpool off to the side, and he had him pop up in the book. So, Hitmonkey is a very kind of Howard the Duck-esque creation, only more dramatic. But again, dramatic in the absurdity that you have a monkey that is a hitman. But it's played, as you'll see in this show, it is played straight, but they're not playing it like dead. They're not playing it deadpan. It's like they know it's hilarious, and we have a voice
for sure.
So basically, Jason Sudeikis, who's wonderful in this.
Oh, that's good casting.
So the origin of Hitmonkey, without getting into specifics, basically a hitman befriends this group of monkeys, ticks off one of them. Bad things happen, and ultimately the monkey is inspired by the hitman. Now, the series, if I recall, I don't think this is in the comic, the series basically had the idea of let's make the hitman, the Jason Sudeikis hitman, a ghost that is tethered to the monkey, basically can communicate with the monkey and trains him into becoming a hitman.
Uh-huh.
And basically, like, he's stuck. The monkey's calling the shots, and he's stuck tagging along, and basically the voice of the audience and everything. It's hilarious. This show is insane, but grounded by the humor, and there is genuine pathos, which I did not see coming. There was genuine pathos. It's so darn cool. It captured the spirit. I mean, with this ghostly pairing, it's kind of like Hitmonkey's dynamic with Deadpool, only a lot more sweet at times. It's like Kurosawa meets Tarantino, man. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next up, the show that made me re-subscribe to Hulu, Dragon.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be okay.
What is this thing?
This is such a goddamn special show for me, Dragon. It's oh my god, I can't even. So this for the. Oh God, Dragon! This is like my Black Panther as far as autism representation goes. It really is. It's just like I have never seen autism put on screen so accurately and so honestly. And I mean, the show's not just about autism, but that's kind of what I love about it. It's like the show's got a lot of quirky characters who are dealing with a lot of shit. There's a lot of diversity to it. But it doesn't wear its diversity on its sleeve. It just is diverse. It's not trying to hold your hand with it. It's not trying to be preachy. So, Dragon, the big highlight that I want to mention here. First of all, Dragon, fun fact. I think I figured out, I think I might have cracked the code on why Joshua Thomas kind of, I mean, I don't want to say he doesn't like it, but he kind of insists on us calling him Joshua Thomas and not Josh Thomas. You know why?
Why?
Because Josh Thomas wrote, directed, and stars in this series.
Huh.
So Josh Thomas plays. Here's the elevator pitch, Dragon. Josh Thomas is the half brother of these two teenage girls, and after the father unexpectedly dies, he has to be their legal guardian. And it's basically from there, it's basically like a super slice of life, kind of like, like the family's fucked up, but they love each other. And, I mean, it's, it's super sweet and super slice of life. There's nothing that's too serious about it. The show doesn't have a cynical bone in its body. I feel like all the cast members are super authentic. But I need to give a highlight to Kayla Cromer here. Kayla Cromer has broken ground, Dragon. She is the first autistic actress to star, to be a lead in a TV series. And Dragon, honestly, like, honest to God, she's like a fucking icon for me now. I really think that her character is like legitimately like without a doubt the best representation of autism I have ever seen in any sort of media. But like I said, it's not like the show primarily focuses around that though. She just is autistic, and it is a part of her character, but it's not her only character trait though. And it's so honest about it. It's so, I mean, I could just keep gushing about it, man. This isn't the type of show that you watch for like a heart-pounding story or, big dramatic revelations or anything like that. It's the type of show where it's like, I am just fucking like so happy it exists just because it legitimately just really, really boosted me as a person. I feel so, so I know I'm almost getting emotional with it, Dragon.
So basically, who has been getting it right lately? I think we can both agree.
This is technically a freeform show. It's just on Hulu.
Well, there goes my point.
But yeah, Dragon. I mean, I don't know if this would be a one where I'd be like, go out, you have to see it immediately. But I can say, like I said, I mean, just at the very least, just as far as autism representation, I mean, this is like far and away, like leaps and bounds better than anything else I have ever seen. Like easily by far the best autism representation ever in media as far as I'm concerned. So,
okay. All right. Well, since the Christmas season, it was
you had a lot of Christmas stuff on your list, dude.
Well, yeah, because take a guess. It's December and I wanted some Christmas stuff.
Santa Inc., man, I've heard things and I am not touching the show with a 10-foot pole.
I figued that. I'm not recommending this to you because I know you'd hate it, but yeah. So this is the raunchy stop motion show on HBO Max. The Stupid Monkey Productions, the Robot Chicken guys who have kind of broken other kind of shows and is trying to basically make like kind of hang their own shingle on stop motion. They've, again, let me put it this way. This is less in line with MODOK, which is on Hulu as well. This is more in line. This is more in line with Supermansion,
it's so funny you mentioned that because I like without even watching the show, I was getting vibes of that based on the one episode of Supermansion that I did watch.
So that's what I'm saying. So this is here's the difference though. While it is more in line with Supermansion, the story is more straightforward, which to its points, like okay, at least we know what story they're telling. And I to be fair, I think I like the story more than I like the jokes. In that I like. There's a gender politics story in here. I think what they're doing with that's pretty good actually. It's just outside it's like that's outside the raunchiness. I think the story they're telling is pretty good. And the structure there. And you have like Sarah Silverman, who's always kind of funny, and we also have
also done by the fucking Sausage Party guys, right? Didn't they have something to do with it?
Well, I mean I'm not sure, that might be more like the producers.
Your favorite movie of all time. Dragon, I'm sorry. I've had a day, man. I'm literally just cutting loose on this thing. I'm sorry.
Right. So yeah. The point being, though, you have Sarah Silverman as the elf who's like a young female elf who wants to be the next Santa Claus, and your Santa Claus is played by Seth Rogen, which is a lot of fun. I gotta admit, Seth Rogen's Santa Claus is fun.
It's like the one element of the show where I'm like, that sounds fun.
So that's the thing. Like the story at its purest is pretty good. It's just the extra raunchy jokes is like, I don't think we need to go that far with it.
I don't Dragon. Here's the thing with raunchy jokes. When you do raunchy jokes, you are not an adult animated show. You are an immature, fucking stupid animated show.
Right.
And now, don't get me wrong. Let me rephrase that. Like raunchiness can be good if it's done well, but I just think if all your show has to offer is raunchiness, then you're just like a Brickleberry knockoff as far as I'm concerned.
Now, to its credit, again, getting back to the main story, though, what works about it is there is a moment in this show, towards the end of it, where there is a big anti-hero crossroads moment. It was wonderful when that happened. Like, oh my God, why couldn't we put this up front? But, you kind of need it to be towards the end, I guess. But it was like, again, the core story was good. And then, the animation on a whole is like, it was good stop motion. The idea of like a raunchy Rankin Bass, I guess, being the impetus. But still, it's like, I don't know if it was worth it. Definitely something I wouldn't like, with the hindsight, like, nah, maybe I'll skip it. But it's like HBO Max is just kind of throwing it there in your face on the banners. And like,
they
hey,
they really do.
watch.
They really do.
So I'm saying they really just like throw it at you. Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I want something Christmassy, and the trailer Seth Rogen.
We'll kind
Santa
of get there
Claus.
with a show that I actually have on my list. That was kind of the same thing. Actually, it's the next one up. So you want to transition?
Yeah, let's transition. Yeah.
All right. School of Chocolate.
Okay, is this an actual show or is it just like a cooking show?
It's a cooking show.
That's what I figured. Go on. I would have been really impressed if you told me, okay, no, there's an actual thing where there's a house of chocolate.
Oh my god. Dragon, I don't even. This show, I watched it like literally in the height of my post-surgery haze. So it was literally like the most fucking turn off your brain and half watch it while you're sleeping thing for me. The whole thing about it is like, there's this chef. I don't fuck all if I remember his name, but he's famous for doing really elaborate chocolate sculptures. And I'll be honest, Dragon, the Pink Pearl, it's okay. I very much, if you have Hulu, I would freaking so highly recommend you watch Everything Is Going to Be Okay. Or Everything's Going to Be Okay. Everything's gonna be okay. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I get it right. So recommend that show. But but yeah, so Dragon, yeah, for this, it's just comfort food, man. It feels like an early 2000s cooking reality show.
So it's not going to leave you screaming, chocolate! Afterwards.
Honestly, it might. It might, because honestly, the one thing about the show is it did make me hungry for chocolate.
Big surprise.
Because some of these creations are really, really cool to see. It's one of those things where it's like, like they have some crazy elaborate chocolate sculptures. Like, I don't know, like there's a lot of them, so I don't want to just list them all off. But so it's like, yeah, a lot of it is just very much like, oh, look at this cool thing that they made. My eyeballs are basking at it because it is cool. The really funny thing about this show, though, is that it's technically a class that they're taking, hence the School of Chocolate. But the best person in the class, so I guess like the best student or whatever at the end of the show, gets $100,000, which inherently makes it a competition without it really being a competition. But everyone treats it like a competition, and so they're super cutthroat and bitchy. And every time the chef compliments someone too much, they're like, "Oh, we got to get him out. He's getting on the chef's good side too much." So you know what, Drake? I will admit, with the fun, cool chocolate sculptures that they make on this show, mixed with the super catty, pathetic bitchiness of the contestants, it was a fun watch. It got me through my sick period. All right.
So let me tell you about Super Crooks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was another highlight along with True Story, man. Super Crooks was really good. This was Mark Miller, the guy who did did the Kick-Ass book. He did he did Old Man Logan. He did Civil War. The comic book writer. He signed a deal with Netflix to produce to adapt a bunch of his stories. So. He did that Jupiter's Legacy show that I told you wasn't that great. Mm-hmm. So much so it kind of got canceled. And I think they're going to do I think they're still going to do the second half of the first season. I don't know. But the point being, so this is a spin-off from that, but it's a good spin-off.
Cowboy Bebop got a whole first season before it was canceled 10 days after it premiered.
And again, just given the fact that they have to deal with this guy, it just feels real yeah, that's it. I don't know if that bodes well. So, but regardless, though, I remember this thing being announced, and I didn't expect it to be like this at all. It's a spin-off from Jupiter's Legacy. It's far better, and also it's an anime. Yeah, which I did not expect. So yeah, this is honestly, taking deep down, this is a show I've always wanted because I've always been pitching for years back in the day of wouldn't it be great if we had a show about the Flash's bad guys, like the Flash's rogues, and we just followed them and kind of treat Flash as the bad guy from their perspective, a little flipperoo there. Not the only time that's been done, but just using the average Joe kind of robbers, the bank robbers of the Flash villains. So We kind of do that here. It's these guys are crooks in the purest sense. They're not murderers or psychopaths or anything, but they're bank robbers.
Yeah.
And each episode is kind of centered around a different character or a location or an obstacle, which is it's kind of the namesake of the episode. And like our main crook, he is a failed hero. We get to see his failed origin story as a kid trying to be a superhero. It's really captivating. And it's a really, you got a bunch of great characters, some insane powers. Like there was one guy, one of the superheroes, who's kind of framed like a villain in this. To our crooks who are trying to get away from him. Guy has 22 powers that are random. Like they're never like he can't just activate the 22 powers. Like, well, I'm going to activate a power. Let's hope it's a good one out of 22, which is really unfair. And they're so screwed, and it's wonderful. So yeah, Super Crooks is one I'd highly recommend. You want something kind of different to kind of spice up kind of your superhero shows. Super Crooks is the place to look.
Nice. Okay, Dragon, I put The Degenerates on the list. It's just a collection of stand-up comedy shorts. But you know what? I went through like a whole, maybe almost a week when I was just getting out of the hospital, just watching pretty much nothing but stand-up comedy. So I don't have a ton to say about The Degenerates, but I did notice that you left something off of this list that I did get around to. So I'm basically going to switch that with The Degenerates since I don't like it. It's stand-up comedy. It is what it is. But I did get around to Tiger King 2. And it's fucking horrible. Right. It really is. It's the show that I watched on my phone while I was in the hospital. And it's Dragon, what I don't like about it is just I am the Carol Baskin side of things. It's I'm not even saying that from a journalistic integrity point of view. I just thought it got super repetitive. I don't know. It's like Joe Exotic. Obviously, he's barely in it, but I feel like at the very least you could have used more archival footage of Joe Exotic. I feel like they must have a ton of it. I don't know, Dragon. Tiger King 2 it really feels like they just missed the mark on it. No one's talking about it. I haven't gotten around to the Doc and Teal story yet, but I'm kind of interested in that just because he was one of the highlights of season 1 for me. But yeah, season 2 really landed with a dud. I really thought it was just a whole lot of nothing for the most part.
You know what? Actually, since you brought up Tiger King, it's so funny how this worked out. You brought up Tiger King 2, which again was not on any list, by the way. Now,
I could have sworn it was, but I'm
sorry.
No,
it wasn't. But
I believe you. I believe you. My
I'm
bad.
I'm glad you did bring it up, though, because I forgot to put something on my list that is
You
in
forgot to put the Doc and Teal story?
Yes, I forgot to put the Doc and Teal story. And pretty much for a reason. It's not the most impressive thing. It's like, okay, basically Doc and Teal's, I believe, I don't know if this is the right way to sell it, but, you kind of groom people to follow him. That's that sort of thing. Kind of skeezy. It's not much of a PS to Tiger King. I think that's the thing. I do like certain aspects of Tiger King 2 and how that kind of was framed, mainly towards the start of it. I like the whole we're trying to get an appeal so we can get released, and what it timed around with, which now you've seen, just timing around the January 6th that didn't go well. Mm-hmm. But the Antilles thing, it's you get to see apparently he was it's like he kind of reinvented himself, and he was kind of a faux Buddhist, if you will, sort of like a really Zen guy who kind of drew people to him, and really screwed up stuff.
Yeah.
Not much to say. All
right. right. Okay.
All right. So
honestly, Dragon, I'm glad that Tiger King 2 flopped as hard as it did, because I really just the whole franchise just makes me really uncomfortable.
The only way I'd want to see Tiger King ever touched again would be if we got David Spade to play him in a biopic or a bio series of some
I would sign off on that.
It's the only way I'd ever.
I would sign off on just a biopic, just in general. I don't really care who plays him as long as it's a good casting choice.
Well, I'm saying again, we were going to have Nick Cage, but
David Spade is a really good call. He's a really good call.
That's what I'm saying. All right. Okay, so let me tell you briefly about The Flash Season 8, Armageddon.
Oh, dear God.
Okay, so
I'm sure it was a hot mess.
Well, not as much as you think. So here's the thing. So the way they're doing The Flash, this is kind of a weird thing. This is kind of like a crossover event. So it's 5 episodes, which is why it's on here. That's the way they're breaking up. I don't know if there's going to be another 5-episode event when they come back from the holidays. I don't know, but bare minimum, this is they had 5 episodes before the holidays, so they made an event out of it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so this So again, this was a very forced crossover. So you did not need any of the guest stars that were in this thing. It's like, hey, let's throw some other heroes that have not left their own series. Like we can't have Supergirl because her show ended. We can't have, we can't have Green Arrow because we ended that story as well. So we were kind of and Legend of Tomorrow is kind of a mess. So we can't really pull a lot from there.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, I loved. We used Black Lightning. Well, I love when Black Lightning shows up. So him coming in, he was like the only warranted cameo that really put in the thing. And also, we saw the second Adam and what he looks like in his full costume, like right straight from the comics. He looked great. But we didn't need anyone else. But here's so it's 5 episodes. You only needed 2, really 1 episode and a half, if I'm being frank. Okay, so it's like. It's pretty much okay. So basically the whole thing is the Flash causes Armageddon. You have this traditionally a villain, Despero, comes down there in like an anti-hero sense, saying, "Hey, you caused the end of the world. I should kill you to save your planet." And it's basically trying to convince this guy, like, no, the Flash wouldn't lead to the end of the world. Where are you nuts? So all that's like kind of blasé, like, and there was like some hooks at the end of the episodes that keep me going, like, wait, this character's dead now? How did that happen? But then it builds to a mystery that I'm crossing my fingers as the week's going on. Like, please, dear God, let it be the Reverse Flash, please.
Right.
And it was great. This essentially is the ending to the Reverse Flash story. I don't know if they're going to bring him back after this. This makes me think Tom Cavanaugh said he'd come back for the last season. I'm thinking season 8 might unofficially be the last season now.
Mm-hmm.
Big payoffs for his story. He crafts like the ultimate revenge plot in this crossover. It's condensed like the 1 episode, Tiki. So if you ever wanted to watch, just check out episode 4 of season 8 to see what the revenge of the Reverse Flash has in store. Man, it's got like a lot of Flashpoint in it. We upgrade the suit. He looks great. It was awesome.
Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Dragon. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I loved part of it, but it was a great part of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Let's see. Monty Python, Almost the Truth. I don't have a ton to say about this. I'm not that big on Python, if I'm being totally honest with you. I mean, Holy Grail is seminal. Everyone knows Holy Grail, of course. I don't know a ton outside of that. But this was a really good one. It was a good examination on kind of like the rise and sort of not fall, but kind of disintegration of Python. You get all the surviving members talking about it. John Cleese, of course, being a big standout. A lot of behind the scenes drama, and I don't have a ton to say. It's just a really, it's not amazing, but it's a pretty well put together docuseries that that does illuminate a lot on a subject that I'm interested in, but don't know a ton about. So I don't know what to say. It does its job.
All right, let me tell you about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, season 15.
All right.
Okay, so
I would be interested if you do have like some recommendations of doing Always Sunny curb style with different seasons. I'd be interested in that. So,
well, that's more episodes than it is seasons on that.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can really provide like a good like jumping off point season. I know for you, the best thing I recommend is do it once Danny DeVito joins the cast, which is like season 2 onwards.
I had no idea he wasn't in the cast in season 1. That's weird.
I think I want to say
trippy because he's so like that show is so like he is so synonymous with that show. From what I know of, just based on pop culture osmosis. So,
if memory serves, he is at the top of season 2, and he just sticks around.
So
yeah, I mean that's basically honestly that's where the show really starts once Frank Reynolds comes into.
Yeah, honestly, now that you say that, I don't even think I'd ever want to watch season 1.
I mean, honestly, again, if you ever want to see the pilot, there's at least 1 episode if you want to see like what the unofficial pilot was. But anyway, beyond okay, so moving on. So. Yeah, season 15. So they usually do 10 episodes. They kind of have like a patented 10 episodes, and now for this season they've trimmed it down to 8. I assume because of the pandemic. So speaking of which, this season starts with Everything You Want in Kirby.
Man.
So here's the thing. So don't get me wrong. They believe me, there was a runner with the pandemic, and they call it out throughout the season. But there's a plot line that involves it. But I think you'll love where it goes. Oh, it's actually I'm thinking about it more now. Yeah, it's absolutely key to the whole thing. So the pandemic is talked about throughout the season, but episode 1 is genius, and how they explain where they've been for like the past year, and it's basically they're
honestly, I'm tempted to just go and watch that right after we get off of this.
So basically, they talk to a guy, and the guy is like, I think he's like I forget if he's an investor. I think he's a potential investor or an auditor. I'm not sure which one. But point being, this guy is asking what they've been up to in the past year, and they pair up and they tell their stories, and the stories that bear resemblance to major 2020 events, hilariously.
Oh God.
Oh God! So there's that.
Pink Pearl. Really quick. School of Chocolate's on Netflix, not Hulu.
Yeah.
Definitely borrow your sister's Hulu account to watch Everything's Gonna Be Okay.
Also, just while she's looking at that, Dope Sick and Hit Monkey.
Right.
Bare minimum.
Well, I'm just saying for her in particular, I think Everything's Gonna Be Okay would really resonate with her.
All right, fine. Everything's gonna be okay. Then if you're like, I liked what I just saw here, watch Dope Sick. Let's show Keaton some love.
I'm just saying, Dragon, Everything's Gonna Be Okay is pretty much the polar opposite of a heavy-hitting drug drama.
Well, yeah, so maybe
All right.
Anyway, point being, so that's just like the 2020 stuff, and then I believe the pandemic definitely relates into that, but then it gets really woven into the whole season, so it gets really interesting. And regardless, so after kind of our setup there, you have a few episodes, and then basically the majority of the half of the season is they go to Ireland.
Oh, okay.
Which is big because they're it's an Irish pub and everything. So they go to Ireland. It's a big deal. Charlie meets someone. That
honestly sounds delightful, Dragon.
It is. So and how they get there is really funny. There's an episode, Tiki. I mean, if I tell you that, you're not going to believe me. There's an episode.
Tell me.
You want me to? Okay, so
yeah. Tell me. It might entice me to watch it more.
All right, so there's an episode. The Always Sunny titles are very to the point. You'd love the cold opens of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, by the way. It'd be your favorite thing ever because they're very direct and they lead into them perfectly. Where it's like the gang, it's like the gang does this. It's like a Friends title, or like a Seinfeld title with the title. Like in this case, like the gang replaces D with a monkey. So they replace the Caitlin Olsen character with a monkey, and the monkey is a bartender, and it's actually a really good bartender. And it basically in a drunken stupor, because the monkey makes good beer, they call it monkey beer. And anyway, so the monkey basically gives them the idea ultimately to go to Ireland.
I mean, to be fair, Rick replaced Morty with two crows.
So that's what I'm saying.
That's kind of what it reminds me of.
I'm leaving stuff out with I'm leaving stuff out with the monkey. But yeah, that's just the long and short of it is there's a monkey, and it's so odd because the monkey episode they came out weekly in twos in pairs. So you had one episode.
That's actually a smart way to do it.
Yeah, so that week that came out, the first episode did not impress people. It was like kind of the low point of the season where they did a flashback. People were crazy about the origin point, particularly with D, what happened with D's origin. So if you ignore that, people went gaga for the monkey.
Nice.
Which was funny anyway. So,
all right.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just it was again, the finale was great. The season finale was really good, and it was overall it was a good season. A little bump with that flashback episode, but all was okay.
Cool. Okay, next up we have the Comedy Store. Yeah, this is a really good one, Dragon. This is probably out of the documentary series that I watched this month. The best.
Where'd you find this?
Showtime.
Okay, so I take it this is about the comedians rising up the ranks.
Yes, it's about it. I mean, it's about a lot of stuff, right? It's about the rising of the ranks. It's about the status of the Comedy Store itself. As like an iconic venue. What it was like in the early days, how it kind of disintegrated. Of course, there is some commentary on cancel culture in regards to stand-up comedy, which I really appreciated. I really like this one a lot. Like it uses the Comedy Store, like obviously, like, the Comedy Store is like a very, very iconic, like maybe the most iconic stand-up comedy venue. And, it kind of gives that as a framework to talk about like kind of the culture of stand-up comedy as a whole, as it sort of like evolved, from the boom in like the late 80s, early 90s, or not necessarily then, like it goes back further than that, but that was basically like, they talk about how the Comedy Central specials and stuff kind of elevated live stand-up comedy because more and more people were getting exposed to the genre and the art form. Really interesting stuff, Dragon. Just a really, really good kind of examination of just stand-up comedy culture as a whole. I'd highly recommend it. I think you'd dig it, honestly.
All right, so I'll look into, sure.
Yeah. And also the one that I did not get around to yet on Showtime, but I'm very interested in, is the Chaplin one.
Oh, yeah, I knew I forgot something. I was supposed to go look into that Chaplin.
Yeah.
I knew I forgot something.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get to it. I just haven't had the time for it yet.
All the Christmas and the Dexter stuff keeps throwing me off.
Right.
All right, anyway, so lastly for me, there's a Unabomber in his own words. So long story short, I'm pretty sure this is inspired by the Ted Bundy tapes thing they had on Netflix. Netflix.
I'm kind of taking like a soft boycott to true crime docs right now, if I'm being totally honest with you. I mean, like, if one comes along that really grabs me, it's about a subject that I'm really into, like the Cecil Hotel, for example, I'll definitely watch it. But I don't know, Dragon. I just think the subculture of true crime docs, it's kind of getting to a point of being exploitive and icky for me right now.
I don't think it's as strong as it once was. I think I can go as far as I think it's had a strong start, and then it's just kind of languished with a few cherry picks like the Cecil. Is it Cecil or Cecil?
Cecil.
The Cecil Hotel.
Yeah. And of course, An American Murder. I mean, that was fucking great.
I got a true crime thing I might grab you later. I don't know if it will, but we'll see.
Okay.
I guess. But that one, I don't know. That one might, regardless. Point being, Unabomber, though. So, here's the thing. I was looking for something to kind of add to the TV stuff. Had I waited, there would have been something better, I'm sure. But so, I mean, it was between this. It was a 50-50 shot of like,
I'm kind of interested in the Times Square Killer one that just came out.
That's what I'm saying. That's the one I wanted to watch. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm filled up already. I can't get it in there.
Right.
Darn it. We're already booked up. Had I known that would be there, I would have waited. So, long story short, this is a nice representation of the Ted Kaczynski story. I really feel for his brother, and the idea, like, his brother had no idea what Ted Kaczynski was up to, and he kind of like, oh god, and like he dropped the dime on him. It's like he had to betray his own brother to bring him in. The trial portion towards the end, like the last episode, was really interesting. How that all went down. I do wonder how it stacks up to the other Unabomber thing that grabbed my interest was Paul Bettany has played the Unabomber in a show that is on Netflix. I don't know if it was a Netflix. I think it just ended up on Netflix, but it. I wonder how that stacks. I mean to get to that too.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to change the subject, but there's a Netflix series coming up that I am so fucking excited for. I think you know what it is.
Well, you mean the one that's going to be tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I've worked out a whole plan to binge it into the new year. So yeah,
I'm so stoked.
Oh yeah,
actually, that might be what my dad and I do for New Year's Eve. I'm excited.
We know what Tiki's doing for New Year's Eve. All right. Oh, that guy's coming in here.
Oh, hey, that guy. Nice.
That guy.
It could be a crime to not have at least one true crime thing you're in. I am interested in true crime, Dak. I am. I just think that, and I know you're being sarcastic, but I just think that it's just gone to a point where it's just like when you start, I don't know, there's a fine line there, I think, but we don't have time to get into the deeper.
I think it's just making more of a crime. Things make more of a crime pun, Tiki.
Yeah, I know he is. All
right, so we finished the TV. Time to click off and start the film.
No, we didn't. I have one more thing.
Oh, you do. I'm sorry. With
Righteous Gemstones. Drake, you need to watch this show. This is right up your alley. It's so fucking good.
Hey, what is this?
So it's basically about a family of evangelical, like.
Well, tell them what it's called.
The Righteous Gemstones.
There you go.
I think they are Baptists. I'm not exactly sure what the.
Is this the John Goodman show?
Yes, it's the John Goodman show.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and it's super fucking good, and season 2 is right around the corner, so now's the time to get on it, man. John Goodman plays the patriarch of the family, of course, and then Danny McBride is one of his grown sons. Danny McBride is the main character. The whole first season kind of surrounds his character getting blackmailed, and oh god, Dre, this is just so good. It's That guy, Cobra Kai season 4.
Oh yeah, that's the one. It's the biggie.
I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
Okay, so Danny McBride, you got really hung up.
So
on
what
the
I like
McBride
about this
film.
show is it has a really good mix of, first of all, the production design is really, really on point. Like as far as like the over the top kind of like, evangelical kind of Baptist shit. The costumes and everything. And then I feel like it's got a really, really good kind of tightrope act of comedy and suspense. It's one of those shows that really like, kind of plays the line of like it's kind of both at the same time, which is exactly why I think you'd like it, because it has a lot of Better Call Saul energy in that regard. It's like situations that are inherently comedic, but because of the stakes, it stresses you the hell out.
I see.
So, I'd highly recommend it, Dragon. I think you'd be right on board for this thing.
Okay.
All right.
Now it's time to roll the film.
Okay, finally, after an hour and 15 minutes, we're getting to December 2021 movies. Dragon, I have one question for you.
Yes?
Did you know that Spider-Man No Way Home is a movie that exists?
Okay, I'm getting really tired of that right now.
Well, I'm getting really tired of John Campea using that movie in every fucking one of his videos. So, all right. I will call him out. That guy, you're into Campea, right? Are you as tired of the No Way Home clickbait as I am? I forget if you watch Campea or not. But anyways, so suffice to say, Dragon No Way Home, it's fantastic, right?
It was such a wonderful movie-going experience this year.
Totally.
It's like Endgame 2 years later in terms of like what the experience was like.
It totally exceeded my expectations. I expected to have fun with it, but I also expected it to be like, I expected it to be a mess, Dragon. I'm not even going to lie. I expected it to be a mess as far as like they're throwing in too much shit. Like how can all of this stuff that they're throwing in possibly make for a coherent movie? Haven't they learned their lesson with Spider-Man 3? Well, Dragon, goddamn. I mean, I should learn my lesson with the MCU. It's like the MCU is so good at team-up stuff. This is right up the MCU's alley as far as just having a really good ensemble film that gives every character, besides Kurt Connors' Lizard, who really shouldn't have been in the movie to begin with. I mean, he just serves no purpose at all. But besides that, every character really gets a chance to shine. I even really like some of the stuff they did with Sandman, even though he's one of the more forgettable villains in the movie.
Of course, the MVPs, Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe.
Obviously, they are the MVPs. Andrew Garfield, I should probably spoiler alert.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It's too late for thanks. Just great.
Okay. Maybe we should just stop. Like, something to say, Dry. I mean, it's like, it is one of my top MCU films, which I was not expecting. And on top of everything else, on top of like all the cool fan service and the ridiculous third act, which is basically like the Spider-Man franchise equivalent of Endgame.
Yep.
They gave Tom Holland actual pathos, and it worked, and it really grabbed me, and I am on board for a new Tom Holland trilogy, and I never thought I would be. Tom Holland to me has always been one of the more kind of like light and fluffy MCU characters, which has always bothered me because one of the big drawing points of Spider-Man as a character is how dramatic his life is. And this movie did that.
Yeah, this movie
did that.
Yeah, in this movie, you're absolutely rooting for Spider-Man in a really difficult spot, and basically this kind of this one more day adaptation, but better.
Totally.
Also, again, John Watts, I think he's absolutely, he's regained support for Fantastic Four. Like, this guy, after what he did here, like, yes, put that man on the FF. Let him do it.
Absolutely.
Yes, so it was for me not perfect from a writing standpoint, but so.
I mean, it was never going to be perfect from a writing standpoint.
Yeah, that's what I'm. So yeah, so just with that in mind,
it's literally impossible to make a story like that perfect from a writing standpoint.
Right. So again, not perfect from the writing standpoint, but so satisfying, fun, and emotional.
Would you say it's better than Harry's Pie?
Yeah.
All right.
So again,
that guy says the Lizard was a loss, but hey, they made Jamie Foxx's Electro good, which is an accomplishment that should be respected. Indeed. I really wish they had the balls to pull the trigger on Dylan Baker Lizard. That's the one thing I really wanted.
And again, the writing put him in a corner on that, sadly. So
yeah. I am just hoping to God in the future we get that dragon. I want it so bad.
I would not count those chickens, Tiki. I would not. I don't think it's going to happen. It'd be great if it did.
I think it might. I honestly think it might. There's serious conversations happening right now for a Raimi Spider-Man 4.
Every time I keep thinking of right now, Tiki, I think you're just calling the next one Spider-Man 4, which I think is leading to a lot of confusion with what you're finding. I don't know.
Okay, well, regardless, if Raimi actually did come back for a Tobey Maguire verse Spider-Man 4, it would be honestly, Dragon, I'd probably be as stoked for that as I was for Jurassic World back in the day. It'd be that big of a deal.
So again, this movie's so rewatchable, so awesome. And also we end this movie brimming with possibilities for the future of Spider-Man.
Totally.
So it's a feel-good feeling.
Not what I was expecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, good stuff. Okie dokie. Let's see. Next up, Nightmare Alley. All right, Dragon, I'll let you go first on this one. I am very, very mixed on this.
Okay, so if I understand, Del Toro got the book. Got the Nightmare Alley book as a gift from Ron Perlman. That's what kind of brought about this movie.
Okay.
So
okay.
I don't know if it was his birthday or what, but he gave him like a gift of like, hey, in '92 he received this book as a gift. This is a story from the '40s. This noir kind of con man story. It's Del Toro's first non-monster movie. For me, it's no Shape of Water, which I think is Del Toro's masterpiece, but it was really good. I thought it was really good. It it's basically Carney who becomes a slipping Jimmy Better Call Saul level con man in terms of like what his ambitions are and what he kind of takes like kind of the small kind of parlor trick and turns like a slipping Jimmy Con and turns into like a real like moneymaker, and it kind of works out all the angles to kind of turn into like a business. It's got a great cast, Defoe, Richard Jenkins particularly, but Defoe, Jenkins, and Cate Blanchett, who in moments of this film utterly magnetic in moments.
Oh God, no! Oh, that's where you and I differ.
I say moments. I didn't say the whole thing. Just she has moments.
That is exactly the moment where our paths do not cross, Dragon.
I mean, I'm mainly talking about the payoff with Blanchett, man. That's the main thing. But
all right.
So again, I'm to go on.
Pink Pearl, by all means, tell us what your sister noticed. I'm curious. So throw it out there. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, brilliant full circle payoff. I think that's really where the movie's biggest strength was. Like they end this thing really.
The movie's biggest strength is absolutely in the ending, and I want to like this movie more than I do because of that damn ending, Dragon. I really do. That ending is so fucking good.
It is, and just again, those moments like that ending just remind you, like, this is why Del Toro's the man. Look at that ending, man.
Here's the thing with this movie. First act, I was in like pure cinephile heaven. I really was. It was just like I was digging the setting, I was digging the characters. I mean the car, like that scene where the geek escapes and they have to chase him through that funhouse. I mean the production design on that funhouse. Are you fucking kidding me?
It was great. It was beautiful.
Dragon, when Bradley Cooper and fucking what's her name?
Do you mean Cate Blanchett or Rooney Mara?
Rooney Mara. When those two leave the carnival, film comes to a screeching halt. Just brakes are slammed on the momentum of the film for me. Just totally slammed on the momentum. It really bothers me. It also really bothers me that we get a lot of these really interesting carnival characters built up and then they just kind of disappear from the story without any sort of payoff. That just sucks for me. Like the Ron Perlman character, like it's like there's literally no payoff to the Ron Perlman character. All right. Peter never talked to his best friend. My sister said he used magic, real magic, enough to open portals. Sure, the ring amplified it, but he mentioned feeling it beforehand.
Yeah, that's what Ned did. Yeah.
So she's throwing out the fact that Ned could still have some magic in him. Yeah, I could see that.
Well, I mean, Ned, nothing saying the magic's taken away, but only now Ned probably doesn't remember it, though. That's the thing. Ned doesn't know that he has magic anymore. But
what I really want with Ned is I really want the Hobgoblin arc, which I'm pretty sure we're probably going to get at some point.
Well, I mean, after we've kind of tabled the magic thing, which, I mean, if we don't bring that back, we absolutely could.
The magic thing was one of the few things for No Way Home where it's like the grandma's reaction to the magic stuff is what sold it, but as
Yeah.
a plot point, I wasn't crazy about it.
I was not crazy. It was just like, how can we have this moment? Well, he can do magic now. What? Where did that come from? We had like a cutesy line earlier. You can do magic. What sense does that make? What about the hobgoblins? It doesn't matter. We need this moment. It's gonna make the whole movie. We gotta give him the magic.
Exactly.
Why are you fighting me on this?
So with Nightmare Alley, here's the only way I would be into Magic Net if that I could see that Hobgoblin with a magic twist. I could see that. Anyways, Blanchett's character for me, Dragon, she is like the most one note femme fatale archetype. I was so bored with her. I was just like, I knew exactly what she was doing.
But that's noir. It's old school femme fatale.
No, I get that. But it's like, there's literally nothing to set her apart from any of the other film noir femme fatales. It's such a stock character.
Well, the end of it is, I argue, the payoff is what set her apart, though.
I'm just saying, as far as pacing goes, that whole middle chunk of the movie and like just the buildup of the mind games and stuff, it is honestly, I'm just going to say it, it's some of Del Toro's weakest writing from my point of view.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
All right, fine. In your opinion.
However, I will say, once Richard Jenkins enters the movie,
right?
It goes from like 0 to 100. It's like, okay, I am totally back on board for this.
It's not that much of a gap though, Tiki, between that and Jenkins. I don't know. It's
I just that section though. Look, it's the fact that that middle section is very slow for me, and also the fact that I just think that there wasn't any sort of payoff for any of the side carnival characters. And honestly, Dragon, I honestly,
you're right about the carnies not getting a payoff. You're right about that.
And I honestly think that one of Del Toro's weaknesses as a writer is I do think he kind of has a tendency to do that, where it's like he has a lot of good characters, but he just doesn't know how to tie up the arcs neatly.
Well, with the exception of Shape of Water, I'll agree with you there.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like a running thing. Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth. All right, fantastic characters.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I think the example that leads into exactly what you're talking about is like, look at Hellboy, the first one. You had the
Hellboy, Pacific Rim. Yeah.
Nothing against Hellboy. I'm just saying you had the side characters. You do kind of like the John character. It's like, okay, well, that's
God.
Literally, they wrote him out of the second movie.
In the movie,
they literally wrote him out of at the top of the second movie because it's like, well, we don't really have much to do with him. But he served his purpose in the first movie. We had the table and just basically had to end the movie on. We got nothing.
Right.
Got to get rid of him. We shipped him to Antarctica.
So yeah, Nightmare Alley. I mean, it's still going to be on my top 20 of the year, but it's not going to be very high on my top 20 of the year. But I still love that ending, though, so it's frustrating.
I was wondering if it's going to be nothing but art house movies on your list.
No Way Home is going to be in my top 5, so...
Well, at least that's...
it's not going to be my number 1, but it's going to be up there.
Yeah, I have a prediction what your number 1 is going to be. I'm interested to see if it's going to come to pass, but anyway...
All right. I think you might be surprised by my number 1, honestly.
Okay, we'll see.
All right.
Okay, that brings us to...
the Ricardos. Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is... All right, so...
There are things to like about this movie, but goddamn.
So we were so sold in premise and marketing of this. Like Aaron Sorkin, being the Ricardos.
It's one of those things where it's like, how could it possibly go wrong? And somehow it did.
Yep.
No, my number 1 is not going to be Free Guy, that guy. All right.
Anyway.
And I hope it's not yours either.
Just to spite you, I might make it.
I mean, I know it's going to be on your top 10, but and I'm going to have to live with that, but anyways.
Okay, yeah, you're going to have to live with that. You're going to have to live with my taste. Yeah. Yes, because that's so bad, Mr. First World Problems. Yeah.
You're just not helping the problem, Dragon. That's all I'm saying.
I like the movie. I'm a monster. Execute me now.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's like the dictionary definition of a good movie.
Yes, because good's a bad word now, right? Anyway.
It is when you're taking a top 10 of the year list into account.
Dear God. Anyway. Mr. Snooty Cinephile, if we can
You're
rein it back.
goddamn right. I know my brand.
A very annoying brand, yes. All right, so being the Ricardos,
yes.
I wanted to love this. I really did.
It didn't work, did it? I was honestly hoping that you'd like it more than I did.
Well,
but
I'm
it sounds
trying
like we're
to
on the same page.
I'm trying to finish the thoughts.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I wanted to love this. I just liked it, though. I did like it. I didn't love it, and I just can't shake the feeling that, I don't love it. I don't really think I'm going to get to a point where I love it. And, it's honestly, I think it was an uphill battle with the casting. We kind of knew that was a risk going into it. Like, Bardem, while great as a Desi Arnaz, as young Desi Arnaz, like in the prime of the show, a little too old for Desi Arnaz.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to take it a step further. I wasn't even really that convinced by Nicole Kidman either.
I thought she was. Here's the thing. With what they brought from the characters, like Arnaz, we represented in the movie well. Desi Arnaz is the businessman, which is what I love, and we showed Lucille Ball as the creative juggernaut that she was on the show, the ideas and everything. So we represented those aspects really. When I think that was the strength of the movie when we showed that.
I just don't think the performances were all that great. I agree that they were written well, but.
So with that, I mean, honestly, I think she did. I think she did in terms of like matching the original. I think Nicole Kidman came closer in terms of looks and the performance. I'll admit, a lot of people.
Javier Bardem looks and sounds nothing like Desi Arnaz. Nothing.
Yes. So
I was honestly kind of defending his casting just because he's a really talented actor, obviously. But yeah, when you're dealing with a person that iconic, it just doesn't work.
You know who a lot of people have been throwing out after the movie came out, who they wanted to see as Lucy, other than Kate Blanchett, who was supposed to be it originally. They Catherine Hahn, which would have been really interesting.
Oh my God, I could see that.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, just accepting what we have. Again, obviously the standout J.K. Simmons is Bill Frawley. He was great. Let's be honest.
You know what? Even that, he's just kind of just doing his standard J.K. Simmons thing.
But that was what Bill Frawley did, though.
I know, but I don't know.
Okay, so here's something that's with every biopic I'm always sick and tired of, but just to apply it to this movie where it actually counts, it's that. Yeah, there's always the uphill battle of the historical inaccuracies and the creative liberty, the artistic license that's taken to make a movie out of it versus like just watch a documentary of it. So here's the thing. These things did happen.
I wanted this to be like Steve Jobs in that regard, and it just wasn't.
So that's the thing. They tried to do the Steve Jobs thing, but it was just the problem was they flew too close to the sun.
They didn't commit to it. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, because
the problem is that like they try to do like the weak shooting thing, which is a really good like on paper. That's a really good framing device for Sorkin to work in.
Yes.
My problem. I don't know if you had this problem. My problem was that I feel like the framing device was sacrificed constantly when they kept going to flashbacks.
Well, okay, so
it's like because they keep going to flashbacks, why even have that framing device then if you're just not even going to stick to that timeline?
Okay, two things. Okay, one, I agree with you full-heartedly on the flashback. The only flashback we possibly needed.
It killed the momentum of the movie for me, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the only flashback that we possibly needed was just one flashback of Desi meeting Lucy for the whole, the dissolving of the marriage to possibly how they met. That's all we need. We need any other stuff. If anything, we needed. So the problem is, I think the Fleet Close to the Sun in that we have 3 events that again did absolutely happen, but not in the span of the same week. And it's like there's the episodes don't track at all. Like these were pulling from multiple different seasons of the 6-season run, and it just that's. So
but I mean, like I said, like on paper, it really should have worked better than it did because he basically pulled the same shit with Steve Jobs, where it's like with Steve Jobs, it's like, of course, all this monumental shit wasn't going on in the same like hour and a half, but it's the momentum of that movie that propels that movie, it's like that movie kind of like you kind of just go with it. You know it's not historically accurate, but you go with it because it's so compelling.
Well, actually, it was 3 days technically, but yeah.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like within each of those days, it's not really a big period of time. It's pretty much like real time chunks. You know what I mean?
Right. So, I mean, based on that, I mean, I don't necessarily mind when we take the artistic license, but when it's that glaring, that's kind of a problem. Like, yeah, I can't buy that. It's all going on the same week, and we're adding like Jager, who would never have called, man. That's come on.
Right.
It's like that. I mean, that's just too perfect.
This is honestly one of the weakest things I think Sorkin has ever written.
And it's a
like,
shame because
it didn't even really feel like Sorkin to me as far as the dialogue goes.
And it's a shame because this could have been Sorkin's best if executed.
It could have, yeah.
Could have been. This would have been like and I think what I think ultimately was the undoing too. I think it was if you're gonna take these liberties, if you're gonna they change things around, if you're gonna kind of get things wrong in the casting and stuff like if these mistakes get made, it's a very beloved property, so any like liberties that you're taking are going to be magnified times 10 of like, well, that didn't happen. We know it didn't happen because the most iconic show ever made.
I definitely know computer people that were upset with Steve Jobs and kind of treated it in that lens.
Right. So I mean, if that was like a problem, there is like tenfold. Yeah. Everyone, their mother, literally knows I Love Lucy.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute, how the heck can they do the whole Baby Ricky debacle and the whole Red Scare?
Yeah.
And the making of this episode. Anyway.
Yeah, it's not great.
And the affair.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So folks, if you like to hear us argue, so that we.
Oh, did you actually watch why did you watch Power of the Dog?
You mean you could? Well, you recommended it to me.
No, I didn't. I couldn't.
Yes, you did. You said Power of the Dog. Oh, have you watched Power of the Dog yet? Oh,
son of a bitch.
You did. You said Power of the Dog and everything.
I was hyped on it.
Yes.
It's not your type of movie at all.
No, it isn't.
I mean, goddamn.
Yeah.
I'm honestly just like...
You recommended it, and I checked it out because of it.
You got to admit Benedict Cumberbatch is damn good in it. Can you at least admit that?
Look, all the performances are good. I have no problem with the performances.
So, what made the film so compelling for me was the fact that I really do think this is basically a spiritual successor to There Will Be Blood thematically, and I don't really take that lightly. I really think this is a great kind of like slow burn examination into the world of toxic masculinity as it relates to the image of the American cowboy, and it's very fascinating to me. It's a very fascinating slow burn look at human psychology for me, and I think there's a ton of really good stuff in it. That being said, it's definitely not it is the most art house movie that's going to be on my top 20, probably no question. I mean, it is not a mass market appeal kind of movie at all. Honestly, Dragon, probably the reason I recommended it to you was probably just because of the Benedict Cumberbatch thing, and I do think he's fucking amazing in that movie, but
so for me, here's the thing. So this one just truly, and I think it's more of a me thing. This one was just lost on me, truly.
I'm not surprised.
And here's the thing. I'm not sure how well the plot registers because honestly, for me, it was like the performances landed, but the plot was completely lost on me. Where I respected what it was going for, the whole masculinity in the Old West thing. That was good. I like that in concept, and I like that's kind of you get the sense that's what they're going for. But again, none of that really, I don't know anything that comes. Barely anything came across for me in the movie in terms of what the heck was going on.
I think it's pretty. I had this with my grandma too, and it's like I think it's a pretty straightforward narrative myself. I don't know.
Let me tell you what happened with me with this, man. I watched it, and again, the performances were landing. I got okay. I think it's where they're going with it. Okay, that's pretty good. And obviously, the bond between I believe Peter and what was Cumberbatch's name again?
Oh God, I forget. I'm sorry.
All right, fine. Cumberbatch and the kid Peter.
Yeah.
So regardless. again, I'm getting okay. They're developing a bond. That's kind of nice
Phil.
there.
Phil. His name was Phil.
Yeah, I knew it was beginning with a P. I just want to just guess
It was
random
on the tip
names.
of my tongue. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I had to look up what I missed afterwards, and I was like, "Oh man, that's what they were going for. That's pretty good." But it didn't land on me at all when I was watching it. I was like, "How did this happen? How did I miss all this? This is big stuff." And I mean,
it is.
That's what I'm saying, but it's the fact that it just doesn't register when you're watching it. I don't know.
It registered for me, so I don't know what to tell you. It's definitely just a taste thing.
I'm not saying the movies, but I'm just saying for me, I didn't care for it at all. That's the thing. I didn't care.
But I like that at the very least you looked up a synopsis and you can see what it's going for.
What I'm saying.
I like that you at least made that effort.
That's what I'm saying. On paper, this movie sounds amazing. Watching it, it's like, I don't know, maybe it was too slow a burn.
That's for example, possible. I think I am obviously like more used to these types of movies. It's way more my wheelhouse than like the Marvel stuff is personally.
Right.
Like I said, I mean, for me, like There Will Be Blood is I'm not saying it's as good as There Will Be Blood. Certainly not. There Will Be Blood is like probably still, after 20 years, probably in my opinion, the best, at least American movie made this century so far. Like, I mean, number one. In my humble opinion.
For me, it boils down to this, Tiki, with one moment from the movie where
I
was utterly, after looking it up and just clearing up what I missed, it's like I was floored by the whole rope-making irony of it all by the end. It's like, oh my God.
I will admit that the rope-making thing is, that is one thing where I don't really think it's, like, I got it, but I got it just because I got the context clues of, like, I specifically remembered the anthrax thing and... like it's very subtle though. It is very subtle.
So that's the thing. So I was floored by just how brilliant that was. But again, when I was watching, because it's so subtle, I didn't get any of that. Like,
I can see how that would happen. I can see how that would happen.
I just like in the aftermath, it's so they're positing anthrax. Oh, I mean, they did mention anthrax. It's kind of a weird way. It's probably anthrax or something. It's like, but of course, obviously, there's a lot more than that. So it's kind of missed
the
out.
whole thing is like he would like go out of his way to avoid the anthrax cows and anyways.
I mean, the whole whole implied like relationship thing. That's the thing that kind of bothers me. That went over my head. It was like that was really important. I missed that completely. I gotta be honest.
Well, I mean, to be fair with the implied relationship, I mean, it's like it doesn't really come to surface that it's a relationship thing.
Well, no, I mean,
one of the last scenes in the movie. Up until then, it's pretty much you think he's like just doing like a hero worship.
No, not with him and the kid. I mean, him and Bronco Billy or Bronco.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right, gotcha.
Like because like through most of the movie, when he's talking about Bronco Henry, you think he's just kind of like putting this dude on a pedestal because it's like a mentor or something. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I like how they subverted that.
Okay.
So, all right. Yes, That Guy, Power of the Dog is absolutely the type of movie you recommend to a certain... I will be honest, I recommended it, like, I was very stoked on it, and I did recommend it to a few people that didn't like it, so...
Yeah, I can attest. I'm one of those guys.
All right.
All right.
Okay, next up. Okay, Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Very divisive movie. It landed with me. I think this is probably Adam McKay's best movie so far, in my opinion.
Okay, so here's where I'm coming down. I love Adam McKay's work in general. So
I don't. That's the thing. So maybe if we disagree, that's why.
Here's where I'm coming down. So ordinarily, I love the way Adam McKay makes a movie. I really like his style, and I love Vice. So I'm also really pulling for him because I know he wants to direct the Silver Surfer movie. I'm really pulling for him to be able to do that at some point. That'd be really wonderful for him. This film was very hyped.
Not be my first choice for Silver Surfer. Why he's Silver Surfer?
I'm saying he's a big Fantastic Four fan, particularly of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. He loves that whole thing. So
I mean, even if he's a fan, I don't really think the character fits his style, but.
Based on the subject matter of this movie, the whole destruction of the planet theme would go really hand in hand with the Silver Surfer. I think he cares.
I'm just saying, like with Silver Surfer, I picture more of like a Denis Villeneuve or something. But anyways,
my point.
Denis Villeneuve is never going to direct a Silver Surfer movie, so that's a moot point. But
if he did the Silver Surfer movie, it'd be 4 hours long, and no one would watch it.
Okay, you can't say no one would watch it. Dune is one of the biggest hits of the year, so you can't just say that.
Okay, fair. Well, again, to be fair, it was offered in the comfort of home too. But it's like, yeah,
yeah, it was offered in comfort of home, and it was still the biggest hit with Warner Brothers this year. So,
but is that really saying much this year, though?
well, I mean, it's something.
Fine, fair enough. My point being, I don't think people are. I don't know. Anyway, regardless, moving on.
People are stoked on Dune, dude.
I know they're stoked on Dune. I'm just saying, it's like it's a really, you have to really know what you're getting into. Okay, it's a long style, and that was even just part one of a story. It wasn't the full Denny Villeneuve that it usually does. I'm saying it's not like 2099. Well, not 20. Now you got me doing it. It's not 20. That's not 2049.
All
right. Point being.
2039.
Wait, what? Was it 39?
Yeah, it's 39.
You're sure about that?
Pretty sure.
I don't think it's 39. Fine. If you say it is, fine.
I'm gonna Google it really quick, but
I'll bet you it's 49. We'll see.
It is 49. You're right.
See?
I'm sorry.
I don't even like that movie when I got that. All right. Okay, my point. So here's what I think about the movie. I think he ended up doing too good a job on this.
How so?
I think this is a scathingly accurate satire on the human condition and where we are absolutely heading.
That's what I keep hearing from people is that it's too, but it's like, why is being too accurate a bad thing?
No, this is what I'm getting at. So I don't think that at all takes away from the movie. I want to be clear. I don't think this is a bad movie in the slightest.
No, I believe you.
In terms of the enjoyment, I think what happens is that because it's just so it's hitting exactly what it's hitting there. And obviously made even more relevant by how we've seen how we react to crisis today, which makes it even more relevant. There's obviously a subtext there. The problem is, and I think for the audiences, and I think even for myself to some degree, is, and I think just for most people, is that it's too defeatist but accurate. Sadly, it's accurate. That it's not a problem with the movie. It's just that it's just so defeatist. This kind of takes.
I will take that over something like Vice, honestly.
Well, that's the thing, though. I think what Vice does, Vice is a challenge of it succeeds in the illusion of sympathy for it's basically the illusion of a sympathy for the devil's story, which really intrigues me. I think really impressed me with Vice.
I mean, I don't know. I just think with this, I will admit maybe one of the reasons it did land with me is because it's not a biopic, and I really appreciate that's the first time Adam McKay has not done something based in real life in a while. And I basically appreciate seeing his style from his last few movies implemented into a wholly original story. And I don't know, Dragon, I'm a big metaphor guy, and I know the COVID thing wasn't necessarily intentional, but goddamn, does it slap you in the face?
Well, what I'm saying is I understand why people are split on it because people aren't.
Oh, I totally understand too. I'm just trying to explain why I personally really liked it.
Well, again, it's absolutely it's a wonderfully. You can tell there's a lot of, and that's the thing. I kind of say that it feels like he's kind of spitting venom, but it's venom that's not wrong. It's like, well, yeah, this absolutely would happen. And Adam McKay's like, we got to shake people out of apathy here with making a movie like this, and I get it. But part of, in the back of my head, like. Is that the right call though? Do you need? I mean, we do need to shake people at apathy, but I mean, at the cost of
I don't necessarily think it's going to work politically speaking. I just
that's what I'm saying, and I guess what I'm saying is I think that's really interesting that he made that choice. I'm going to risk alienating half the audience to really just kind of make the movie that this movie absolutely has to be, and also just beyond just kind of politically and all that sort of stuff. Is that I love DiCaprio as Dr. Mindy. I thought he was wonderful in the film.
I really like how soft-spoken.
Yes,
it's kind of funny because DiCaprio was known as the screaming guy, right?
Yep, he is.
And
he did scream.
Passed the baton off to Jennifer Lawrence. And I will say, I still didn't love Jennifer Lawrence's performance here. I've always kind of had sort of an issue with her as an actress. I really do think it's kind of the cult of personality thing. People just went really fucking nuts for her. Oh my God, she stumbled at the Oscars. But this is probably the most palatable Jennifer Lawrence performance I've seen.
But Tiki, I love that they played into the whole Jennifer Lawrence being a little kind of unenthusiastic these days. They kind of played into that though. Yeah, she would not be. Yeah, she would. In all honesty, she probably wouldn't be going over that well without the fall from the Oscars. So yeah, that's kind of what this is. Yeah, in today, again, I love the whole idea that because she basically spoke the truth to these crazy people, and because she's a woman, sadly, she got labeled as the crazy lady. And I love how we taled about that. So that's what I'm saying.
And like I said, obviously, like pairing off Leo, who's usually Mr. Screaming McScreamerson.
Yeah.
It's just like a totally like soft-spoken, socially awkward geek. I love it.
I mean, honestly, here's the thing. I wasn't crazy about the affair part of the plotline, but here's the thing, though. They paid it off so nicely, though. This never happens.
Right.
That never happens. So
how often do you see an affair plotline? It's like, oh, that's nice.
Never. I've never seen that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Again, this is a remarkably well-made movie, but again, it's a question of like.
I don't know if it's going to make my top 10 of the year. It probably won't, if I'm being honest. But it'll definitely make my top 20.
Just for the fact that I don't know. That's the thing. It's like I don't know if I would necessarily go back to this because I necessarily on the regular as much as I would like something like Vice. I don't know if I go back to this. This probably won't make my list either because again, that defeatist tone is it's a deal breaker, but not a knock against the movie. It's like, do you want to watch it again?
I hear you.
But again, tremendously made though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okie dokie. All right. Next up, Beanie Mania. All right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm going to throw a huge right because I'm usually the Beanie Baby guy when the subject does get brought up. So what do you think?
So this was an interesting rise and fall doc on the Ty Warner Empire built on Beanie Babies. It's a fun look back.
Don't you love how fucking aloof and mysterious the way that they talk about Ty Warner in this movie is?
Yeah, I do. I like that. Yeah. I was wondering, are they going to have him show up? And of course, absolutely no, that doesn't really happen.
Wouldn't it be awesome if he did show up after the whole, like, there's no chance you're going to get an interview from him?
Of course. But yeah, this is a fun look back to the nostalgia of the Beanie Baby craze. That's what I really got a kick out of here. I mean, it's so sobering.
Are you old enough to, do you remember the, not to age you, not to date you, of course, but do you have memories of when Beanie Babies were actually a thing? Because I do.
Well, absolutely.
I certainly do.
I mean, again, during the that's what I'm saying. The scene that had the most impact with me in terms of like the sobering, like look back of like, oh yeah, I remember that. The McDonald's of it all.
Like, that's a big one for people.
So sure, I think I was there probably at the height of the Beanies, not the beginning, but probably.
I would say the teeny beanies were the peak.
That's a fair point. Yeah. Yeah. But so I remember like the whole, like, I think the moment in the movie that got me is like, I had no idea it got this bad. It's the whole people were picking them up on the highways.
Oh, it got bad. That is the best moment in the documentary. I will agree.
The most interesting,
just the visual of it.
The most interesting thing, I knew the Beanie Baby craze and the whole, like, obviously the fall in which, it kind of hit like the collecting market of which, hey, once everyone has something, it loses value. The most ridiculous, it's like the more ridiculous version of the comics crash from the 90s.
Right, yeah.
It's like the only more ridiculous in that, well, it's at least you have the books. So like, no, it's like a little Beanie Baby, and now we can. I remember Robot Chicken. They did this hilarious thing once. Did you ever see the Beanie Baby Robot Chicken sketch?
I don't think so.
It's really funny. There's a guy who basically he's grabbing. He has access to all the Beanie Babies. He makes like a pimp coat out of Beanie Babies, and he's basically like the idea like he's like wearing money practically. He's like treating like I have an empire. Don't get all this money, and of course on the TV it's like the news breaks and it's like, oh no, I've lost everything. It's really funny.
Oh dear. All right. Yeah, I really like this a lot. I really did. I thought this is great.
I love HBO Max is bringing back the documentaries. Really, well. They're really leaning into HBO having great documentaries and bringing some fresh stuff at us.
Yeah, I mean, like it's one of those things where it's like it's not like it wasn't illuminating to me because I already knew all this stuff, but I think they told it in a really compelling way.
Yeah, presentation is key.
Absolutely. And I want a biopic so bad. I want a biopic so fucking bad.
Ryan, did you throw? I know you pitched him for somebody else, but would you want Will Ferrell as Ty Warner, or did you have someone else in mind?
I had Sam Rockwell as Ty Warner.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I really want Sam Rockwell.
I would watch that movie. Get Sam Rockwell as Ty Warner. I'm out of heartbeat. Yes.
Yeah. He's been my dream Ty Warner ever since I read the book. So, actually, come to think of it, this might be based on the book, honestly.
Did Ty Warner write the book or was it written about him?
Oh, God. Do you think Ty Warner wrote the book?
No, but I'm saying I'm wondering if it's gonna be like a skewed,
Based on
like,
what you know about this.
that's what I'm saying. I wonder if it was gonna be like a skewed, like, here's how I built everything.
No, I don't think the book was called Beanie Mania. Anyways.
Well, sometimes they change the titles. It could still be based on the book.
I don't think it is.
All right, okay.
It just kind of treads the same, but that was a damn good book, though. Man, I still remember that. Book.
I might look into that. What's it? So, well, if you find out what it's called, let me know.
Okay. All right. What's next?
All right. Next, it's to you.
Oh, it's called The Great Beanie Baby Bubble.
Oh, okay. That's what it's called. Okay, so you have a little musical you'd like to tell the folks about.
West Side Story. Dragon, I do not understand how this flopped as hard as it did. I really don't. I just don't get it. I don't know. This is fucking fantastic.
Was there a crowd when you saw it?
No.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I mean, it's like I remember I saw it twice, and both times I was like, this is noticeably like not a lot of people. Dragon, I'm just gonna throw it out there. This is like hands down, like far and away the best Spielberg movie that he's done, maybe since something like Catch Me If You Can.
Well, that's kind of far, Tiki. I don't know about that.
Okay, but think about it. What has he made that's really landed?
And Bridge of Spies was really good.
I think this is better than Bridge of Spies. I mean, Bridge of Spies is really good, but and now I'm just going to preface this, right? If you're not a musical guy, you're not going to love this.
Obviously, nothing's going to remove the Terminal from my heart, so there's that too. But
this is so much better than the Terminal.
I said for me, for me.
Oh my God, Tom Hanks is fucking eating crackers with ketchup. It's so quirky.
But that was nice. He was learning the ropes.
I'm sorry. I don't know why, but for some reason, whenever I go back to the Terminal, my mind just instantly goes to that. And it's just like, it's literally the most boring thing I could possibly
come on. That was nice.
Anyways.
He was making friends through lunch.
Oh, God. I don't know why that got me as bad as it did, but God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Dragon, this is a Spielberg movie through and through.
Now, remember our delineation of Spielberg directed or Spielberg movie. So is it a Spielberg movie?
It's a Spielberg movie. It is not a movie directed by Steven Spielberg. It's very much a Spielberg movie.
Okay.
I will say this movie maybe has one of the best Chekhov's guns in all of cinema. Especially the way that they play the gun scenario out here. The gun is introduced a lot earlier in the story than it is typically in the Broadway show, and that's honestly like maybe the smartest decision Spielberg made in the whole story. Like literally the block that they're that the Jets and the Sharks are fighting over is a condemned construction zone practically. Like it is. Like, it's basically a slum that's in the middle of getting gentrified. That's an addition that Spielberg made to the story that just makes it absolutely fucking sing as far as just, like the set design. It's so good. However, I'm going to throw one caveat out there, all right?
All right.
Ansel Elgort plays Tony.
Okay.
And he's really bad.
That bad?
Like so bad that it's almost like a Russell Crowe and Les Mis style, like so bad it's good.
Well, okay, wait. Do you mean the performance in total or just the singing?
Kind of both, just in general. Honestly, mostly the singing. Because he's charming. He has his charming moments, especially with Rita Moreno, who's absolutely a goddamn goddess in this movie. I don't even know how to get into it. But I
think there's only one question with the movie I think everyone's asking that you should answer here.
Yeah, what?
Is it better than the original?
Yes, absolutely, no question in my opinion.
Okay.
The original was made on a soundstage. This actually feels like a movie.
All right.
And not only that, but like I said, I just think the updates that Spielberg gave to the story, I think Lincoln is Lincoln's good. I really like Lincoln. I like Lincoln more than this guy does. But
yeah, I think Lincoln's overrated. I really do.
I don't necessarily think people go nuts over Lincoln outside of the performance. But anyways, I do think, I don't know. I really do think this is up there with like the best of his movies this century. I really do. Like probably top 3 with Minority Report and Catch Me If You Can at the very least. But again, if you're not into musicals, it's just not going to land with you. I don't know what to tell you. You'll probably like the Spielbergian elements of it. Like Dragon, I think when we do inevitably cover this for Spielberg month, the thing that you will be most into is the Chekhov's gun of it all. Because I really do think they handled that element of the story really well, and it adds a lot of suspense. And it's very Spielbergian the way they do it.
Hey, Warner Brothers did this, didn't they?
No, they did not. If Warner Brothers did it, it would have been on HBO Max.
That's why I'm asking. So yeah, okay, who did this one then?
God, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let me look it up.
Was it Paramount?
Might have been. Hold on. Sorry, folks. Googling. Shit. I don't.
All right, let's not dwell on it. We'll move on.
Okay. But yeah, we're inevitably going to cover this for Spielberg month at some point, and I'm super excited to get into it, but at the same time, I'm a little bit worried about, how you're going to take to it. Dragon, I'll give you that answer, but I just need to find it. So,
all
right. Honestly, it's probably Universal.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I figure it's Universal.
Yeah.
It's not Warner Brothers. It's probably Universal.
Distributed by it's 20th Century. That's right.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I wonder if that means technically it would go to Disney Plus.
It'll probably go to Hulu.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, it seems like it's a type of movie where it could go either way. One other note about the movie is that Ansel Elgort, like I said, he's bad. Everyone else, and I'm talking every single other performance in the whole movie, which makes Ansel Elgort stand out like a sore thumb, is just fucking magnetic. Just absolutely magnetic performances in this thing.
Important question, so Maria was good?
Oh, she's fucking fantastic. Oh my God.
Because if Maria stinks, then the movie's dead.
Maria is actually played by a former fucking Dance Moms girl, like a girl who was on Dance Moms. But oh my God, I mean, it's like she's a star. Like, it's literally one of those things where it's like the second she comes on screen, you're just like, who the hell is this girl, and why hasn't she been in more movies? She just has such an energy to her.
All right.
And I also think that the film kind of recontextualizes even more so, kind of like, yeah, kids, maybe it's not the best idea to fall in love and elope, after only meeting for literally one day, maybe don't do that. So, all right. So yeah, West Side Story definitely going to be on my top 5.
All right, let me tell you about 137 shots. Let me bring down the room. This is the true crime thing I was alluding to earlier.
Okay.
So, this is a documentary on a very shocking miscarriage of both law and justice.
Oh, no.
Okay, so this is an event that happened in 2012.
Okay.
There's a black couple that were not just gunned down by police, but 137 shots were fired at them.
I don't know if I can stomach this. I really don't.
The last of which...
keep in mind, Dragon, I'm pretty close to Oakland, and Oakland police shit like this happens pretty regularly. R.I.P. Oscar Grant. So yeah, I don't know if I'd have the stomach for this just based on that description alone.
So the last couple shots, I imagine, of which were execution style by a cop who literally ran up onto the hood of the cars. And this was not an accidental, as in like, bam, bam.
I'm literally getting pissed off and flustered just hearing you describe it.
That's what I'm saying. And you ready for the coup d'etat, my friend?
Oh, God, I don't think so.
I'll tell you anyway. All of this, there was like a giant Blues Brothers chase that led to all those cops circling him and everything. All of this because their car had a little backfire, which they mistook as like gunfire. They heard a backfire on the cars, and the muffler, like, and it's that led to a police chase. So Very solid true
I'm
crime.
literally just processing that right. Jesus,
I know, right? That's what I'm saying. This
fuck the police, man.
I had no idea about this, and this
Uh-huh.
so this is just the
Honestly, like I said, I'm pretty close to Oakland, so it doesn't surprise me. But
okay, just so you know, it's not. This was in Cleveland, just in case you're curious.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying Oakland is kind of like an epicenter for this sort of shit. But
I'm just saying, don't get terrified. This is 2012, and it was Cleveland.
I'm
not saying it makes it better, but still, just All right, so yeah, I think the moral of the story is, man, Cleveland's pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a solid true crime doc. Again, I don't want to belabor any points. It's just basically kind of about the tragedy and kind of how that's all.
I am gonna pass on it just based on the fact that if I watched it, I would just fucking rage at the screen. I would fucking rage.
Yeah, so. It's not pretty, so not graphic, but not
honestly. Fruitvale Station. Did you ever get around to seeing Fruitvale Station?
Was that that's Cooler's movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have access to it. Otherwise,
it's a great movie, but it is one of the hardest viewing experiences I've ever had. It hit super close to home. So, all right. Okay, next up, my most anticipated movie of the year, Licorice Pizza.
So was your most anticipated movie of the year moniker yet another death sentence, or was it a victory?
It's hard to answer that question. I've seen this movie twice. I've seen this movie twice, and Dragon, I know this term is a cliche with the kids out there now, but this movie's a vibe. It's a total vibe. I think this is a very good sibling movie to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It has a lot of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in it. To the extent where I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Thomas Anderson literally just watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and he's like, I want to do that. So first of all, John Peters is only in like 5 minutes of it, but he's absolutely the best part of the movie without question. That scene is going to be iconic, fucking iconic cinema.
Only 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know. Trust me, Dragon, everyone's saying that they want him in a full movie.
Yes, let's just make a biopic on the death of Superman.
Dragon, everyone wants that. Everyone wants that.
We could actually get
Bradley Cooper, John Peters.
Let's get Nick Cage to play himself.
Well, I don't know about that. He's
he just needs to do
that role right now.
He just needs to do a costume test. It's one scene.
God. Right, but so this is such a hard movie. I will throw this out there. Cooper Hoffman. God damn. It's Dragon. Philip Seymour Hoffman's death was honestly like one of the biggest like milestone celebrity deaths. Like it hit me like a ton of bricks. Not so much on a personal level. I mean, obviously it was sad, but more so on just like a sheer, like I just felt like a black hole of talent just get sucked up into the ether when he passed. He was one of the, in my opinion, Philip Seymour Hoffman is like one of the all-time great screen actors. Like I would put him up there with like a Jimmy Stewart or something. I mean, I don't know why I cite Jimmy Stewart just because he's an iconic actor and obviously like, he's on my mind. She's a librarian. All right. But I mean, obviously Philip Seymour Hoffman and Jimmy Stewart have very different styles of acting, but
yeah,
Dragon Cooper Hoffman, he is, I mean, obviously he's his father's son, obviously, but
do you have anything beyond facts right now? Can we get into the way you're?
He's amazing, and it almost feels like a reincarnation of Philip Seymour Hoffman, more so than just like, yeah, that's his son. It's like seeing a young Philip Seymour Hoffman on screen again, and it's just fucking amazing, and I love it. The one thing with this movie, this movie lands with me a lot more the second time. Obviously the big crux of this movie is kind of like the wayward relationship between the two. The age gap is kind of like the big thing where it's like, at no point does it ever get sexual. Thank God. But, but it's definitely kind of like one of those things where it's like they kind of toe the line of the friend zone. They both like each other, but they both know that, obviously she's like 25, he's 15. It's never going to actually work out. What I really like about these two characters, is the fact that he is 15, but like kind of like one of those kids that's like way mature for his age while he is still a kid and does kid like things and gets into shenanigans, but he's like super mature for his age. And then Alana, the character played by Alana Haim, is very much the opposite. She's like kind of like very much in that hazy sort of mid-20s period of like, she does not have her life together. Her life is kind of a mess. She has terrible luck with relationships. So the two are just kind of naturally drawn to each other for that reason. He's looking for someone more mature. She's looking for someone to kind of like grab on, like kind of grab onto the last like gasps of childhood in her life. And it's a very, very sweet movie. And I like, for the most part, it's not creepy for the most part. But you know what? It's Paul Thomas Anderson. So Paul Thomas Anderson, there is inherently a creep vibe with everything he does. It's kind of part of his vibe. So I'll tell you what doesn't land for me. And this is shocking coming from the director that has literally put together some of the all-time most iconic film endings for me. The ending of this movie is a dud, in my opinion.
Well, no wonder you're split on it. You're Mr. The ending needs to be everything.
Yeah, it's a dud. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I've watched it twice. The second time I watched it, I was really hoping that the ending would like resonate more, and it just didn't. I think honestly part of the reason why the ending doesn't resonate with me is just the last line is very, very, very obviously ADR, and it's like they don't even try to hide it. And I don't know if that's like a stylistic thing or what, but it's like in a movie that's just impeccable stylistically and as far as like cinematography and shot composition and everything goes, that it's just a glaring like, oh, okay, that was a noticeable like lack of quality and care there. But yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, this movie is definitely going to be on my top 20. It is probably not going to be on my top 10. It's probably like smack dab in the middle of my Paul Thomas Anderson rankings, but I do think it's such a good vibe, and I keep thinking about it, and I keep wanting to return to it, and there's a lot of really memorable moments and really memorable scenes, and I do think that the John Peters scene is going to go down as one of the most iconic scenes in Paul Thomas Anderson's career. Dragon, you need to see that. That scene alone is just, I mean, it's like I will link it to you the second that it shows up on YouTube, because it is a fucking masterclass in suspense. I mean, it's like they don't play they play John Peters for laughs, but he's also like easily the most threatening thing in the whole movie.
Well, that's the balance of John Peters. So
right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, oh god, the John Peters stuff is so good. Here's the thing, Dragon. Actually, when it comes to the ending, I really think that the John Peters thing would make a great climax to this movie, and then you just kind of need like maybe 5 or 10 minutes to kind of like, wrap the story up. Instead, the John Peters thing is like the end of Act 2, and then they go into this whole third act with Benny Safdie as a politician, and she's like trying to like become I get what they're doing with it. It's like she's trying to be more mature, but it ultimately doesn't work out. At the end of the day, though, the whole movie was just sort of like a theme of like they're getting together and breaking out. So it did work for me. And honestly, Dragon, if this movie ended on the John Peters stuff, it might be in the top 3 Paul Thomas Anderson movies for me, because I really do think the Bradley Cooper stuff really, like, that would have been up there with like an I Drink Your Milkshake as far as an iconic endings go. But unfortunately, it's not the ending, and we have like 20 more minutes left, and the 20 minutes that we do have left is probably the most boring section of the movie. So that's a drag, man. It's such a drag. But like I said, I want to live in this movie. I want to marinate in this movie. This movie is such a vibe. It is very much the mirror image of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a bromance, this is definitely the romance side of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as far as that kind of movie goes. So, yeah, like I said, Dragon, I really don't think it'd be your type of movie outside of the John Peters scene, but you absolutely have to see the John Peters scene at some point. All right.
Okay, so lastly, the Super Bob Einstein.
After
Okay.
all those like big like Oscar movies and true crime talks. Go ahead.
Yes, so this is about the actor who played Funkhauser on Curb Your
Uh-huh.
Enthusiasm, who again Bob Einstein, he passed about a season back from Curb, maybe 2 seasons past, I'm not sure. Um, because at the top of this season of Curb, they kind of paid tribute to him by having Albert Brooks on, who is in real life is Einstein's brother. And Albert
Mhm.
changed his name from I found this out. So Albert Brooks changed his name because he didn't want to be going around being called Albert Einstein.
I mean, that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense.
It
Oh
does.
my god, Albert Brooks' legal name is Albert Einstein?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's fucking trippy. I love that.
It's great. So as I'm saying, this is basically a tribute to the now gone Bob Einstein from both his friends and his family. It's very enlightening. I learned things about Einstein I never knew about. Like for example, the
Uh-huh.
biggest thing is that he was a really well known TV personality, like a comedic TV personality. He did interviews on Carson and everything. He had a whole gimmick. His thing was the big thing everyone knew him from. People worship him. Basically, how people love Bob Odenkirk from Mr. Show. He had a character. He had Super Dave, which is why it's called the Super Bob Einstein movie.
Uh-huh.
Super Dave, it was apparently a phenomenon, especially rap, like the rap community. They love this guy too for some reason. I don't know why. Basically, this guy's a parody of Evil Knievel. Basically, he sets up these these Evil Knievel stunts that end in like Looney Tunes stunts gone wrong, and he has like a deadpan humor delivery about him. So it's really enlightening to see, like, man, Bob Einstein really commanded a lot of respect in the comedy community, and we see why he was good. We see why his style really worked. This man was like a master at deadpan. He had like a really funny voice. Um, Got a lot of love from the folks who knew him best. Obviously, it's. I really wish they directly in this. I wish they addressed, how Curb Your Enthusiasm brought in Freddie Funkhauser to kind of like, continue the Funkhauser name and everything. They talked about Curb, but just not like how they're handling it on the show. Unfortunately, I don't know if that was like because they were in production or what, but yeah.
I would guess it's probably the in production thing, yeah.
But yeah, this is on HBO Max, Tegan. I think, especially he's given the newfound kind of like Curb Your Enthusiasm and all this, be definitely worth watching. It's like an hour and change. It's really good.
Cool. All right. Okay, so we are officially on catch up.
Yeah.
All right, I actually feel like we're going through this like quicker than I thought we would. All right.
Right.
Okay, I feel like some of these we can just kind of like, like sort of not lightning round, but kind of.
Yeah.
Like, so for example, the first 3, I think we can kind of lightning round them just because we've already talked about all of them. So, all right, 8-Bit Christmas.
Okay, so this misrepresented to me as a Jingle All the Way with the NES was not
Okay,
that at
to
all.
be fair, that's how it was advertised.
No, I know.
Right?
I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming the advertising.
Okay, good.
I mean, you fed into
because I know
that.
that's how I sold it to you too.
I know that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's how you sold it to me. But that's how it was marketed as well. That's why you sold it to me like that. So it's not just your fault. It's the movie's fault. So anyways,
it's only like mostly my fault.
Yeah. So anyway, really, it's Christmas Story, just nowhere near as good. Nailed the Nintendo craze. I felt has its moments, but did not.
I think by far the best scene is the Power Glove scene,
and that's what I'm saying. It didn't measure up to the caliber of that Power Glove scene as it went on. Wasted.
I pretty much told this story on the podcast, but like when the Power Glove scene came on, I was like, okay, this is gonna make or break if these people know what they're talking about. If the Power Glove is actually cool and it actually works, they have no idea what they're talking about.
So,
all right.
Wasted Steve Zahn, botched the sentiment completely at the end, and I'm peeved with it. Could have been worse, but I'm peeved with it.
I feel like me being sick just kind of like made me forgive this a lot more. Honestly, I cut it way more slack.
Don't know how that works, but okay. All right.
It's because when you're sick, you don't put on your critical thinking skills as much. That's how.
Right. Okay, right. So Santa with muscles.
Really bad, really cheesy. Had a good time with it. I don't really know what else to say that we didn't already say in our podcast.
I mean, look. Amnesiac Santa, Hulk Hogan saving orphans has my approval, but everything else, story-wise, not so much.
Mm-hmm. The Nickelodeon cartoon villains, yeah.
I'll co-sign Ed Bigley Jr., but not much else.
Right.
All right. Okay, how did you feel about Fat Man?
I think it's a really good movie. I just think it's a little bit uneven in parts. I don't know. I feel like you dig it more than I do, but I don't dislike it by any means.
All right. Okay, how did you feel about Street Gang? How we got the Sesame Street?
Okay, here we go. This is probably going to be my most unpopular opinion.
Can I real quick? I just want to rant for a millisecond.
Yeah.
Still really ticked off that for anyone to watch this HBO documentary, it was like made, I think, roughly around either April or most likely June, and people had to wait until December for an HBO documentary.
So I feel like Street Gang is going to be like a new go-to example for me of a documentary that, technically speaking, checks off all the boxes. It's really well produced, really well edited, good archival footage and everything, interesting stories. I literally know everything that this documentary went over. Like, there was nothing in this movie that was like illuminating to me. And I honestly think that it could have done better as far as focusing in on the cultural impact. I mean, it talked about the cultural impact for sure. I just think it could have gotten more specific with that kind of stuff. Granted, it's really difficult because I feel like this is this just does not stack up to something like Won't You Be My Neighbor or I Am Big Bird or something like that. And I feel like those movies, obviously, since they're based on one man, it's a lot easier to mine the pathos out of that. Like I said, Dragon, I definitely enjoyed watching this, but I really didn't hit me as hard as I wanted it to. But I really do just think that's because I'm just such a big Henson geek that it just nothing surprised me. You know,
I mean, that's on you. That's on you for being into it.
I know.
All right.
So, all right.
Okay, so I got some Christmas stuff in here.
Yeah,
so,
you sure do.
Yeah, so this is an interesting story. So this is...
I would like to know the story of Sister Swap. Right?
All right, so...
You didn't watch just one Sister Swap movie. You watched two
so
of them.
there's an explanation for this. So this is a Hallmark movie, but an experimental Hallmark movie. So it's called... The first one is Sister Swap, A Hometown Holiday. So this is the Hallmark gimmick in this case. This is a gimmick movie in that I had no idea about it. I thought I was watching One Sister Swap, and I was kind of blindsided. Wait, what's happening here? Apparently, because I'm watching it, and I taped it. So as I was watching, and then all these commercials. Well, I'm already watching Sister Swap. Why are you advertising? And I realized, oh, this is one of two films. As in one film this week, the second part next week. And it focused on this. The gimmick is you have two of the most adorable, watchable sister duos, the Williams sisters, Kimberly William Paisley and Ashley Williams.
Venus and Serena.
So Kimberly William Paisley and Ashley Williams, and you remember Ashley Williams from Snow with Tom Cavanaugh.
Oh yeah, sure.
And Kimberly William Paisley was the mother in Christmas Chronicles.
That's
what I'm saying. These women are just bred for Christmas and holiday cheer and Hallmark. They like the Williams sisters were bred for Hallmark. They're just so delightful and perky and
right.
Nice. I love these. These two sisters are delightful alone to watch the movie on. So anyway, the idea is the movie focused mainly on one sister, and the other movie tackled the other sister, and they basically have overlapping timelines, and the movies kind of happen. That's the gimmick. You could watch.
It's like the Fear Street of holiday movies.
Yes. So the idea is like, well, so one sister goes away.
Are they going to do Sister Swap 1886 or whatever the hell it is?
Well, you see my point. The idea is like one sister leaves like halfway through the movie. And I was like, wait a minute, I need my Ashley Williams fix. Where'd she go? Then I realized, oh, she's getting her own movie in which we're going to swap it. Okay. So this one particularly, not super complicated. They're trying to sell the family movie theater in the small town, which is rife with Hallmarky charm, and they're trying to put on one last.
I'm just picturing like a theme park land that's literally just like a Hallmark Christmas town.
That'd be so nice, wouldn't it? Honestly, I wanted to do the town.
Literally just be the set of the ending of Wonder Woman 2.
No, actually, you know what would be better? I want to do the Christmas Village from the night before Christmas.
Oh hell! Oh my! Why has there not been another Night Before Christmas? Out of all the shitty Hallmark style Christmas franchises, that is the one that legitimately like was set up for a sequel, and they just haven't done it yet.
I wonder if they've honestly, T, I wonder if they did any sequels this year for any of the holiday stuff. I'm not sure. I assume they must have, but I don't know. Regardless, again, this one was centered around Kimberly Williams Paisley, and again, basically, it's like, hey, we got to save the. Let's put on one last show at the movie theater before it's sold. That it's kind of Be Kind Rewind. That's just not nearly as intricate.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Next up, we have Ron's Gone Wrong. Oh,
so tell me about this thing. I see this thing all over. You know what's weird? This is on 2 streamings. It's on both Disney Plus and HBO Max somehow.
That is weird. That is very weird.
It's so bizarre.
Well, I mean, I know why it's on Disney Plus, because it's a Fox movie. It's actually the first post Blue Sky Fox animated movie. But yeah, I have no idea why it's on HBO Max.
Such a weird Nexus event, but go on.
Okay, this is delightful, man. It really is.
Really? This was good?
You'd be surprised. A lot of people do like it, yeah.
The trailer looked very, very undazzling to me.
Here's the thing. If the Mitchells versus the Machines wasn't a thing, this would easily be one of the best animated movies of the year for me.
You're kidding, really? It's that good?
It is. It's very good. I like it a lot. I think... I really like the the Android sort of smartphone on steroids kind of Dragon. As a gadget nut, you'd really like this, honestly. Because I really think that the invention that they come up with, that's basically like a smart device in the form of like a friend, is super creative. At the start of the movie, it just like lays out all this cool shit that it can do. Yeah, I think that I think the characters are super likable. The kid has a really eccentric family. I think Zach Galifianakis is the titular Ron, has like maybe one of his more subdued performances he's done, and that's a good thing. I mean, like I said, it's no Mitchells versus the Machines. It's not going to be on my top 20, but it very much feels like a good companion piece to Mitchells versus the Machines, as far as like a theme of technology running through these animated movies.
Okay.
So yeah, I would highly recommend it. I think you'd have a really good time with it, especially from the gadget side of things.
I mean, for me, the deal breaker was the whole like, man, it just seemed like it was my vibe I got from the trailer was like, man, this is gonna get annoying fast. Like he's just gonna do everything wrong just throughout the movie.
Well, I mean, obviously the arc is that him doing stuff wrong is ultimately like the right way to interact, and it's kind of like a satire of how we've become so engrossed in social media that we don't know how to actually interact with each other. So that's the whole point. And I think Dragon, I don't think it's nearly as annoying. It's one of those things where it's like when you see it in the trailer, I don't think it's nearly as annoying as you're picturing it.
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong. You could watch this movie and really just not vibe with it. I would just be surprised given how gadget-centric it is and how much of a gadget nut you are. So,
right.
Like I said, just see it for the gadget factor alone.
Okay.
All right,
let me tell you about Sister Swap, Christmas in the City.
All right.
So... Okay, so as I mentioned before, so we kind of swapped it, as you can probably guess by the namesake. Where this is now Ashley Williams' section of the film, and it fills in the gaps. Like, what was she doing when she basically before she entered the movie?
I'm dying to know, Dragon. I'm fucking dying to know.
So again, the idea is she's more kind of like in the corporate side of things. She's kind of the business lady, and she basically her movie is more of the love story kind of variety of Hallmark here. She's kind of fallen for her coworker, and there's some cutesy holiday stuff. Where man, they're buying Christmas trees for each other because they miss like actual big Christmas trees, and it's like, hey, there's this great gag in the movie where it's like, so they go to the Christmas tree lot and they're marveling at the tree, so they know they both like big Christmas trees, and they talk to, hey, listen, I want to surprise my buddy, reserve me a big tree and send it here. And then the other one comes by and says, hey, listen, my buddy loves the big tree, I want you to so yeah, that sort of thing. I'll tell you one really charming, but there's a holiday tip in this I thought was tremendous. I never thought about this. So when you have like almost like a Clark Griswold giant Christmas tree, apparently what he should have done, he didn't do. What he should have done is the way you deal with a Christmas tree, it's way too big for your living room, is you chop the bottom out, and with the bottom, you
Oh, that's clever.
so when you chop the bottom out,
Uh-huh.
you can make it into a Christmas wreath.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Apparently, it's like you kind of arts and crafts, the bottom section of the tree into a holiday wreath. That's what you do with the bottom part if you get a tree
Very
that's too big.
practical.
So yeah, it's an interesting. It's an interesting concept. This gimmick, and you have really charming leads. So I wish they would have. I wish it would have said, "Hey, it's a 2-part event, a little bit more." But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. Cool. Oh, God, Peter Rabbit 2.
I take it not as charming as the sister swap.
I mean, the whole reason I watched this was because I was kind of like on a meme kick of James Corden, and I was sick, and I literally just wanted to watch it just to make fun of James Corden.
Well, you should have watched the gross things on a show.
And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I pretty much got exactly what I wanted from this, but that doesn't mean
Did you see the
good
first Peter
experience
Rabbit?
by any means.
Did you see the first one?
No.
Okay.
And honestly, that's kind of like I watched this when I was sick, and that kind of like added to it being a literal fever dream because I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And James Corden is just, I mean, he is just James Corden. It is most James Corden. He is fucking arrogant. He is annoying. Yeah, I mean, it's bad. It's really bad.
Nowhere near as charming as the AI from the artificial, the artificial intelligence movie, the super intelligence movie.
Okay, yeah, but the thing about that is that they actually that movie is actually playing with the James Corden meme.
Yes.
This movie is just James Corden just being James Corden, and it's not charming. So
gotcha. All right. Okay, let me tell you about the Claus family. So, Claus family.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, so the Claus family. This is recommended to me. I didn't know quite what I was getting into with this.
Oh, God.
This is on Netflix. It's a Dutch film on Netflix.
Oh, it's a Dutch film, really? Interesting.
Yeah, so I usually
my number one movie of 2020 was a Dutch film, if you remember.
I recall. That's so here's the thing. I watched this dubbed, which I usually only do with animation. So seeing dubbing in live action is still a weird thing to me. It's kind of foreign, literally. So basically, the story here is a boy loses his father around Christmas, and he's forced to kind of move with his mother, who works in a cookie factory, which is quite pleasant. I gotta admit, I look at her making cookies. So anyway, so she's anyway, so the boy, because he's lost his father around this time of year, he's turned his back on the holidays. He doesn't like Christmas anymore because he's only associated with bad memories. But he's hanging out with Grandpa. He likes Grandpa, but he finds something out about old Grampy. Grandpa is in fact Santa Claus.
Oh, fuck me.
Little dour, but sure. Yeah, he's
I'm sorry.
The point being, the grandfather gets hurt around the holidays, and the idea, like, the boy loved his grandfather beforehand. Anyway, so he's not going all angsty just because he's Santa Claus, but clearly there is a divide here, and he has to help his grandfather deliver the gifts and save Christmas. You know how it goes. And I don't know. I think it stalls in places here and there, but overall it's okay. I was expecting a little more when I heard it's a really nice thing about the payoff as to.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like it could be like a Santa Claus spiritual successor if they played their cards right with it.
That's the thing. I mean, the spirit of the thing, the reason it's called the Claus family is nice. That's a nice reveal and everything. Oh, that's really sweet. Like what they paid off. I see why it was recommended to me, but getting there is like, I wish the person would have said, "Hey, it's a dubbed Dutch movie." I would have. I might have reconsidered. I don't know. But,
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't watch the subtitles? Oh, I would have fucking just watched the subtitles.
Well, I didn't know until I was into it.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah, I almost never watch dubs unless it's like an anime, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. For example, Super Crooks, the dub will suffice quite fine.
All right. Okay, let's see. Mass. Okay, going from Peter Rabbit 2. God. You know what the premise of this movie is? I'm just going to read the premise off of Wikipedia because I can't explain it any better.
I'm going to guess it's religious, right?
No, it's not actually.
I got nothing.
Jay and Gail are parents grieving the death of their son, a victim of the school shooting.
Hmm.
Richard and Linda are the parents of the perpetrator. 6 years after the tragedy, both agree to meet and talk. That's it. The whole movie is just them in a room, like hashing it out, like how they feel, their feelings, their emotions. I will throw one name out there, and it's the reason I watched this movie to begin with.
Who?
And this woman needs to be nominated for an Oscar at some point. Ann Dowd.
That name sounds so familiar. Ann Dowd. Wait a minute.
Ann Dowd.
I know that name.
Well, I mean, I mostly know her as Patty from The Leftovers.
Oh, well, that's why I know
Yeah.
from then. Okay.
I mean, she is just a freaking tour de force in this movie. And she's always a tour de force in like literally everything she does. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Ann Dowd performance. I mean, Dragon, at the end of the day, this is kind of a movie where it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a very, very thoughtful, very, very engaging dialogue piece. Like, obviously, it's one of the things where it's like, it feels like it would work better as a play than it would a movie, just because the whole thing pretty much takes place in one room, and it's kind of like, it's one of the, it's like, it's not as pretentious about it as My Dinner with Andre is, but it is essentially a movie that is a conversation, but the conversation does touch on a lot of interesting themes, and obviously, like, school shootings are a huge deal right now in society. It's a big bad epidemic. So it's not a fun watch, but it is an enlightening one. Obviously, it's not a fun watch with the subject material.
It sounds like you should have watched that other movie, Mom. I told you about, Mother of Monsters. Remember the whole
I did watch that.
Wait, you did watch that?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure about that. I don't know if I might have forgotten to put it on a Memoirs list.
That sounds like you did, because I think I would remember. Hey, you watched Mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like that a lot. I thought it was a really good found footage movie.
All right, well, there you go. Okay.
So, anyways.
My point redacted. Go on.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, it's like, at the end of the day, Dragon, this is like, it's like some critics are like, why isn't this getting more Oscar attention? Because it's not an Oscar type of movie. It's just not. It's, it just doesn't have any of the big production values or sweeping cinematography. It's just a thoughtful meditation on, on an epidemic that we're suffering through right now. So, and not the epidemic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right. Personally, probably wouldn't recommend it just because it is a serious downer. So
I see.
All right.
Okay, let me tell you about Point Blank.
All right.
It's a Point Blank action movie on Netflix, but it's not really all about the action. Really, it's more about. Okay, so here's the thing: so it's Anthony Mackie and Frank Grillo, which is the main reason I watched it, because I'm in for Mackie, and also I like me some Frank Grillo. Mackie plays an EMT who was assaulted in the hospital one day. He's like beaten the crap out of because he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. He has a pregnant wife at home who's like about to pop, about to be due, and she's kidnapped by the assailant. So this forces Anthony Mackie's character, the EMT, to basically break the kidnapper and assailant's brother, who's a mercenary, out of the hospital, or else he's going to kill his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it turns into a reluctant buddy adventure where obviously the brother, once he comes, he's like, wait, what's happening here? And he doesn't want to kill a kid or anything, or kill a woman with child or anything. And he knows like his brother's using a tactic to get him out of there. So they kind of forge, like, they're really grumpy with each other, for obvious reasons. It's a tense situation, and the idea is the brother needs, like, the EMT has like all the shots and injections that he needs to kind of stabilize himself so he doesn't like pass out from the pain and everything as he's been woken up from his condition to be broken out. So that's kind of, they need each other essentially. He needs to get his wife back. He needs him to stay conscious. And let me this way, the emotional through line with all that was good. There was a really nice kind of like payoff, like, oh, there's a relationship that develops there, and the ending's really nice. Mackie impresses, as he is wont to do, and as I said before, love me some Grillo. I'll tell you this though, I'm so tired of the same reveal in all these action movies. The corrupt cop reveal in these thrillers is getting on my last nerve.
Mm-hmm.
just the fact of it's like, we have like, there's a police element and you're like, oh man, the one we thought was friendly is actually bad. It's like only one. Okay, look, that Chadwick Boseman movie actually made a point of that and actually worked. Okay, let's not ape again. That was like one of the rare exceptions for that works. So I'm just getting so tired of it. We keep doing it.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
But
you.
yeah, so that was a nice watch. Though it was nice.
Okay, and finally, this is a really good one to end out on, honestly. Listening to Kenny G.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea who the hell Kenny G is at all?
I'm trying to remember what instrument he plays.
Mostly, like he's a smooth jazz guy.
Yeah, he's a jazz guy.
Okay, so you know him. You know him. Okay, I love this. This is my favorite documentary of the year. It's so good.
Really?
Yeah, it's so good. I love it a lot. I actually I wouldn't have even watched it if it weren't for do you know the YouTube channel Your Movie Sucks?
I haven't watched their stuff, but I know about it.
Oh, he's the guy that put out the big Kimba review.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. So he actually had it as one of his best movies of the year. Actually, I still think it might be his number one of the year, which I don't agree with, but it will be in my top 20.
So what about Kenny G? Where's the draw?
So this whole movie is an examination on how Kenny G's music has become kind of a joke. Like, it's elevator music. And it's kind of like an examination of Kenny G, like, how he feels about kind of being a meme at this point, and how people like misunderstand his art and what he's going for, and how he's annoyed that in the community of jazz, there's basically like a ton of like discourse over, like technical perfection and doing things the right way. Whereas Kenny G's like, nah, man, I'm a freeform guy. It's like I play what comes to my heart, and yeah, it's not going to sound 100% like technically like perfect all the time, but that's what emotion is. You know what I mean? And Dragon, I can't even really I feel like the synopsis isn't great, but the vibe of the movie is so fun, and it's really fun, but at the same time you feel for him. He becomes a very compelling protagonist in the movie. One of the first notes the movie hits is in the middle of an interview, the documentarian is like, so Kenny, how you feeling right now? And he's kind of like looks contemplatively to the camera like, yeah, underappreciated, just generally. So yeah, I really love this a lot. This is my best documentary of the year. It's fantastic. And honestly, Dragon, I really love the I need to watch some of the other music boxes they put out besides this and Woodstock 99. Woodstock 99 was a big one where it's like I knew the subject matter. I was very intrigued by it. This one was more in the music box vein of like, I probably wouldn't have watched it if it weren't for Adam's recommendation, but I am very glad that I did. So I definitely do want to check out, I'm not too familiar with the subjects of the other music box documentaries, but I think I should check them out just based on, although Adam did say that the Alanis Morissette one wasn't nearly as good, but I don't know. Like I said, for me, from the ones I've seen, it's definitely 2 for 2. I love the, I really like the the Woodstock 99 one, and this one is even better. This one is a genuinely really great character examination documentary. I really loved it.
Cool.
All right. Best and worst.
Let's ditch the thing. Yes, best and worst. Oh, yeah. All right, best. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be the same, but at least for me, best, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be further up on my list than West Side Story is, but I'm going to throw best to West Side Story just to be different.
All right, fine.
I think No Way Home has less flaws than West Side Story does, and West Side Story only has one flaw, but it's a pretty gaping flaw with the Ansel Elgort thing. And No Way Home is just like, yeah, there's some nitpicky plot bullshit, but other than that, it's pretty much perfect. But yeah, I'll go West Side Story. And then for worst, Dragon, I mean, it's like, come on, far and away, it's Peter Rabbit 2.
For me, it's kind of a toss up between. I mean, if I'm being really mean, I'd say 8-Bit Christmas. I think it's really Santa with muscles. I guess that has to be like the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. And also, just one more time, I'm going to give a special shout out to Everything's Going to Be Okay. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, that was like the biggest highlight for me of the month, even over all the movies. I mean, it was just like a life affirming thing for me. So yeah. Very highly, I can't recommend that show enough. All right, folks. Well, that's the end of it. That's the God.
Hold on a second. Let's thank the folks.
Okay, big thanks to that guy and also Pink Pearl. You guys both rock. I'm super happy and blessed to have this audience. Even, it's a small audience, but everyone in the audience is super loyal and super nice. And I'm loving this little community that we're building. And frankly, in the wake of all the Lindsay Ellis drama, I'm happy to keep this community small. So you guys rock. I genuinely like from the bottom of my heart, love you guys. And I'm looking forward to building this community in the new year.
Have a happy New Year, folks.
Mm-hmm. Well, folks, we've waxed on long enough. And it's time to put the pen down. Until the next installment of Memoirs. Did you know that Spider-Man No Way Home is a movie that exists?